for Sentinels. And they can continue to close the distance on those fresh spawners now. Glory hunting, maybe getting information as a player down bottom middle. And you can see he's aware of it. Helping his teammate over towards green. Killing spree locked in for the Irishman. Looking towards A. Turns his attentions now. Precision trying to stay alive desperately. Gets a kill. That could be huge to break this setup. Snipe drone will clean up the pieces.
And that should allow them to at least get B. Lethal will be able to turn that in their favor. Snipe drone can't quite lock anything down. I think that he was just trying to rescue at least a kill to trade out with. You can see the difference with Quadrant getting that trip cap and being aggressive on top of it. 57 points they put on the scoreboard. And Sentinels, they're going to be a little bit more a slower pace when it comes to their setups. They probably won't try and push the trip cap as often as Quadrant. But if we do see Sentinels get a trip cap, that's when we would need to see a response from Quadrant. How good are they at breaking a setup that they're so used to doing themselves?
Sentinels will try and play a little bit more cautious. Happy to slow the game down when they need to. For Quadrant, it's rock and roll. They want triple caps. They want as many points as they possibly can get. Precision gets one on the Glory, but not before he gets stuck. Let's talk about Precision, Dan. What a player he is. What a difference he can make to this team.
Yeah, what an addition it has been for Sentinels. I think having that Slayer power, that firepower that can be the clutch factor for them, it's just sent them with a new kind of a breath of life, I think, to this roster that so desperately needed it after the Arlington performance that we saw. And he can be that difference maker, someone to change things when you are struggling a little bit. And he might not be the biggest voice on the team, but sometimes you can say a lot more with your actions rather than words.
Glory gets 3 shots to the back, backs away. Boo Boo has the snipe. Face to face with snipe drone. Puts him away. You spoke about Sentinels trying to get a triple cap, and they're threatening to do so here and now. And they will lock it in. Do Quadrant have an answer?
Yeah, this is going to be now the biggest moment of the game for Quadrant. How do they break this setup? The fact they've been able to shut down the sniper rifle, huge there. If we saw a connection with headshots, it would have been a very different game, but the Quadrant boys all pushing together. Yes, they get Boo Boo down, but notice how Sentinels very quickly at Boo Boo Doo Boo's feet to make sure that that sniper rifle doesn't go into someone else's hands. You don't want to give it to the likes of Snipe Drone, the likes of SLG, who can do big, big things with it.
C secure. A and B, though. They're in Sentinel's control. Quadrant have managed to step out for a moment. Glory has a sniper rifle and he can be lethal with it. Lines up Precision, does he? Yes, body shot connects. Precision backs away, takes the challenge, and the Irishman comes up big.
That's an important one as well, just for confidence to be getting these individual pivs and making sure that you just let Sentinels know you're here to play and you're not going to be faded by the occasion. And now A, B, and C locked down for Quadrant. Sentinels spawn over towards C, so a collapse is possible, but they try and go for it. Good from Glory, though, to listen to Seeker's call out to make sure they actually mop up that extra damage. Glory starting to pop off.
Where's your head at? For Glory, it's inside A. Thinking of nothing but the win. They didn't clear out that player. That could be a massive blunder. How did he get away?
Yeah, I think we were able to see it just because of the outlines, but sadly, they didn't quite catch it, but it doesn't look like it matters too much. Sentinel's still with 3 dead, and look at how Quadrant are rotating around the map together. Very aware of where their teammates are, just staying within a certain distance. Are going to see Camo spawn, and it is going to be just popped into the chest of Boo Boo. And now this is going to be Sentinel's opportunity to try and break this setup that Quadrant have held now for a good lead. I mean, a 50-point lead they're close to.
Glory down shots, Lethal's there to help Boo Boo out. SLG feints to go one way, comes back for the fight, but Boo Boo shuts him down. 3 dead now for Quadrant. They still have the control of A and B, but B is under threat now as Sentinels close in.
Yeah, temporarily they were still scoring as they spawned over towards A, but they knew they couldn't commit to B instantly. It would have been a very dangerous fight to take. The angles that could have been taken by Sentinels, but now they've dealt with the camouflage, they can start to be a little bit more aggressive with their pushes. Don't have to worry about someone hiding around the corner. And you saw Snipe Drone, he saw that sniper rifle was coming up, but he said, actually, I need to go and help the rest of the team. But Lethal is taking that angle that I was talking of. You really need to just cover that big door. Don't allow people to push out for free.
Lethal, so much experience. So important to this team. A little bit of a scramble down bottom middle. It's a melee fest. Snipe Drone places an elbow to the spine of one, gets a double kill. Pushes forward, drives forward, precision. Almost got put in the dirt. It was falcated, excuse me. And now he has control of the sniper rifle, looking towards sandbags, just reloaded as that Sentinels player showed his pixels. Now, Elliot is trained on the big door. Someone stepped out, realized there was a stranger at the front door and backed away.
I do love it when you show me your pixels, but now Snipe Drone just making sure he's staying far enough away so he doesn't get caught out here and can take angles. Gets overconfident, but I think that's because he knew he had the rest of the team there to support. Two have gone down, but it is another trip cap, but only temporarily. C-spawns for Sentinels. This is always one of the better positions to take when there is C-spawns. You can just shoot players as they drop down and usually unaware to your presence. No kills just yet for Sega, but a lot of damage. And does he know? He doesn't know, and that's a shame for him.
There's just been a couple of those so far. 3 dead for Quadrant. And a chance now for Precision to continue to jiggle peek against SLG. He's managed to stay alive for now, and that could be big, waiting for his teammates to get back on the respawn. Falcated in the 1v1s, SLG backs him down as well. This is very good from the Frenchman as he continues to fire off the back foot and keeps himself alive.
Someone who's been alive a lot, Precision, 20 kills at the moment, and I really think that's the main threat to Quadrant in this game, is they have to be aware that Precision is having one of those games, and you need to shut him down. Don't give him the chance to get a sniper rifle again. Glory's got camouflage and has the opportunity here to do something a little bit different. I do think it's important if your teammate has camouflage, you've got to be aware of it because you've got to mop that up. You don't want to get them into a beatdown trade and then you just throw away the camouflage, which is so valuable.
Glory going over top middle, 3 dead, lethal. Last man alive. Fresh spawners from Sentinels over towards tower now. It's a 1v1 trade at the map. Boo goes down, Falcated joins him. And Quadrant very close to that 250 point threshold that they need to secure game 1. Still a lot of work to be done, but so far, so good.
Be about to get locked in, and it's now a 70-point lead on average. Quadrant win their Strongholds games by 70 points, so they're already in the driving seat, and they're looking to just push themselves over the finish line now. But we know Sentinels are a team that could come back into things right at the very death here. But Quadrant, they're locking in, they're watching big door. One last push here for Set.
How many times have we seen a team get stopped here and lose the game? They cannot do it, they cannot afford to. 2 go down for Sentinels, and that's enough for Quadrant to claim game 1.
A lot of noise here in Twickenham. And Sentinels, I'm sure they would have heard it as well. Such an important win for Quadrant. And it will just calm those nerves, calm those jitters that we were talking about.
The Icelandic clap at start. The crowd getting behind the team, quite literally. Those girls can probably smell Snipe Drone from there.
The great smelling player, I will say. Snipe Drone always makes sure he's got the deodorant on and the most fancy bit of perfume. But if we look back at the highlights of the first game, it was a little bit dicey to begin with for Quadrant. As we mentioned, maybe the nerves just on the side of them, but boy, when they started to lock in that triple cap, it just became too difficult for Sentinels. A few camo grabs that were very important as well. I will say there was a few snipes that probably made the difference from Glory.
When we talked about the series layout before this game started, you did say you expected to see Quadrant win the game, and with good reason. And as we look at the highlights and some of the plays that were made, Solitude Slayer is now on the horizon. What way did you see that one going?
I see this one going in favor of Quadrant as well. Again, another undefeated map for them throughout the online qualifiers and online tournaments. Yes, okay, it's European tournaments, and we have seen Quadrant dominate the region, but you've got to remember that Into the Breach are also part of that, so there is still a very competitive roster they have to constantly go up against. But Slayer Solitude in general has always favored a team like Quadrant. They just love the way the map works and how they can move around it, take some of those off angles and manipulate it to really force the other team into these difficult spots where they are in those split spawns, and then you can take advantage with constant push after constant push and just throttle them. That being said, Sentinels also know very much how to play a Solitude map. I mean, we always say it, you know, whoever played Halo 5 knows how to play Solitude, yada, 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 but this is going to be an interesting one and a very important one. If we see Sentinels go 2-0 down, that's when I think the belief maybe starts to dissipate and they start to get the same kind of feelings they had at Arlington of, is it going to happen again? right? Is this going to be another tournament where we just fall flat? We had such an impressive start when we were looking at our online performances, but now we're at LAN, now we're against Quadrant. Should we be beating these guys? Is this a team we should be able to take down? And
that is something that, before Ireland coming into it, the form book, everybody suggested that Sentinels would be in that top 4. That's the way the predictions were going to be, and we found them fall short, and fall short pretty significantly as well. They bring in precision to be the difference, to make the impact on the team. And with Slayer on Solitude, it's a bit faster paced. You want to try and spawn trap players, and it can be very easily done and very hard to break if you're on the other side of it. And are Sentinels capable of playing that faster type of Halo?
I think that's a good point. I think that one of the detriments of Sentinels is they do slow things down. I mean, they have players who have always wanted to slow down a game of Halo, and it can work in certain scenarios, but there are maps that don't allow you to do so, and Solitude may not be that map if you are behind. If you're ahead, you can slow it down, you can play in a way to really frustrate the opposition, but it's whether they actually get the opportunity to do so here.
Dan's had his prediction. He thinks it's going the way of Quadrant. Sentinels would love nothing more than to prove him wrong, and to prove the crowd wrong as well. Only time will tell. Enough yapping from us, and what way it's going to go, we're about to find out.
Wow, early picks from both sides. Very quickly, hands on the shock rifle for Glory. We saw what he was able to do with the sniper rifle previously, and it does seem like Glory is the guy that goes for the power-ups. He is very much on top of it, listening to Kronos, their coach, making sure that he is grabbing it when it's available.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a deliberate play. The team are trying to get Glory hands-on with the sniper rifle, with the camouflage, and really capitalizing on the damage he's putting down.
Well, you want to give the power-ups to your playmaker, and Glory has been the playmaker for Quadrant. One of the reasons why they picked up Glory, why he was an addition to this team. He knows how fast to play the game, and he is someone who can have those pop-off moments. So it makes sense, but 7-2 in favor of Sentinels. Make it 9-2 now, where we talked about the team of Sentinels and what they're good at. They are very good at playing structured play when they have a lead. They now have that lead, and they could really frustrate Quadrant here.
Sentinels then look to build around this lead. Lethal goes down, Precision drops. Jiggle peeks in the pillar. Seeker will join him in that fight and will win it this time. 2 dead. 12-6 the score now. Shock rifle in the hands of the Frenchman as he heads towards loop, up towards light rifle now. Seems to be caught between 2 minds of where to go, perhaps waiting for information from his team of where the team's going to spawn. S1 is the call. Precision almost loses his face, but spares his blushes for now. All of Sentinels appear to be trapped now on the low side, and this is the time for Quadrant to come and collapse.
2 shots that I've seen Seeker hit time and time again, but again, maybe just a little bit cold coming into the first series. But they are getting back into the game. Only a 3-kill difference, make it 4 as Lethal starts to get a little bit frisky. Only 5 seconds till the next camo though. So I think if you are Sentinels and you start to become aware that Glory has tended to be the player who is going to be on that camouflage, on those power-ups, you start to look towards maybe sending someone who can challenge him, not allow him to do this, because Glory is a player who can really threaten you from behind.
I'll leave that there. 4 kills the difference then. Falcated will fall. Glory has got the camouflage. Snipe drones pushing forward. It's a blue room, a little thrust. Not going to be enough to evade the attentions for Boo Boo. Just starting to grow in confidence now, our Quadrant. Spoke about Sentinels trying to slow it down. They haven't been successful so far, but a big double kill from Lethal. And that will stop the push, and that will relieve some of the pressure.
As long as Sentinels can maintain a 5-kill lead here, it just forces Quadrant to do something a little bit different and to kind of up the ante ever so slightly. But Quadrant are doing well to not allow Sentinels to kind of run away with it. I think at 9-2, I was concerned that it could have been one of those games. Still could be. All it takes is another swing, and this looks like it could be a big swing. It's Glory again to just try and do something, but it's just wasting ammo at this point, knowing that he's about to be pushed. Does come out with something, though. Glory still just keeping Quadrant in this one.
Glory pulled down a little bit of magic. And will that drive the team forward now? They've gotten a staggered spawn, and they can collapse here.
Oh dear.
Glory's dived in a little bit too soon, though. It's going to be a trade. They have to immediately turn now, pivot, and look for the other 2 spawners, and continue to do this time after time. But just as I say that, Boo Boo gets the pick. Seeker's going to be forced to back down straight to the crosshairs of Precision.
Still close though. Still within 5 for Quadrant. But Sentinels are doing very well at answering when Quadrant just have that burst of momentum, and when they start to really try and push for any sort of map presence, there's someone on the Sentinels roster to be waiting. And finally, we see a camouflage now available for Falcated. We spoke about Glory, how he can be a difference maker. Well, Falcated has been that. We saw the stats from Arlington. Despite the top 16 finish for Sentinels, Falcated was still in the top 5 for his KD. Now you can read into that multiple ways, but one thing it will definitely state is he is a player who can put kills on the board. He just needs the rest of the team to be there with him.
Falcated continues to do poke damage. SSD was down to no shields. Snipe Drone will get the trade and will re-peek onto Precision, and somehow, some way, Snipe Drone managed to get another. Oslays favoring Quadrant just a touch, but still a 6-kill difference as we head towards the end game.
Consistency from Glory. He always is finding angles to finish up kills. He's very aware of the callouts that his teammates are giving him. Now, though, needs to be providing the callouts and just dealing that extra damage before he goes down, but Snipe Drone quickly and swiftly finishes his kills off as well. Both teams at the moment actually finishing off damage very successfully, and the communication is so on point. By the way, 15 kills for Precision. If we haven't hammered home what an amazing addition he's been to Sentinels, statistically speaking, he is already showing in this series that he has proved his worth.
Precision is the truth. 3-kill game. Boo Boo backs away into blue. SLG will hold him there too. Now that sitting at the top of driveway, they seem a little bit cautious now. Do Quadrant have to do a little bit of damage, but not looking to give away too many kills. But Boo Boo poked back in to get the trade. 4 kills the difference. Seeker and Glory have to wait for their teammates to spawn back up because they're at a little bit of a numbers disadvantage for now. And it's a split spawn. 2 towards blue. Precision's going to fight over towards gold edge. Oh, Seeker with the use of the thruster pack gets the kill.
Thought he almost duped himself with the thrust for a second. Sadly, they weren't able to get the camouflage though, and Lethal, if he can clean up this kill, it puts them just 5 away from taking the second map. Snipe Drone doing very well to just be an awkward kill though. Again, not allowing the easy trade. Eventually the grenades will be his demise, but now we're going to see Sentinels with the chance just to surround the Quadrant roster because they have the extra player, they got that initial pick. The delay of the kill actually may have helped Sentinels as they're only 4 away from taking map 2.
Make it 3. Lethal tried to close distance to go for the trade. Unsuccessful on this occasion though. Falcade over towards Loop, pressing forward. Seeker could have been the point of contact. He got tagged up just a touch, he'll know he's there. Seeker down to no shields now with a shock rifle. Strips it away. Snipe Drone on the driveway. Continues to take damage. SLG there too. 1 kill required. And it could be coming the way of SLG if he's not too careful. Glory's there to help. And it is Lethal. Locks it in. 1-1 the series score.
That's massive for Sentinels as well. I was worried it could have been one of those games that just starts to go heavily in the favor of Sentinels, but Quadrant, they were clawing back over and over, but Sentinels consistently shut them down. They had an answer for every question that was posed by the Quadrant roster. Now they find themselves all tied up in the series, and now they can start to relax themselves. I think getting a victory on the board in your first series, or your first game of the day on the main stage is always important for both sides. Now it's all even Stevens.
I think it's important you note as well how every time Quadrant seemed to climb back into it, Sentinels were just there to put a little arm out and keep them out of reach and out of touch and distance. And every single time Quadrant appeared to be getting back into it, a camouflage would go the way of Sentinels, and they'd start to build on things once more. Very well played from the boys in red.
Yeah, they just kept them at arm's length, didn't they, really? And had they not, then it would have been a scenario where they could have been 2-0 down against the home favorites. Crowd gets loud, crowd gets rowdy, and they start to worry. But now they can refocus. They can start to actually think about where they go from here. And Precision was the man who was the man with a plan.
Just a man.
He was
just a man.
Just merely a man, but
just an ordinary man.
Sometimes looked like more, like a god with what he was able to do. I think Sentinels, that's what they required. When they really lacked something in the previous event, we were asking, well, what is it? Why are they performing like this? And I think having someone who has that X factor, who can put up stats like that, is very, very important and could be the difference maker for not just this series, but Sentinels tournament as a whole.
There were big shoes to fill when Spartan fell. Precision slotted right back in, fit like a glove almost, it has to be said. He has got superstar potential, and he's going to be needed in these big series. 1-1 the score, King of the Hill recharge, Dan. I know you've got something.
I mean, again, I still think this one favors Quadrant. I think this is a very good series layout for Quadrant in the first 3, but then it starts to trend towards Sentinels as we get to 4 and 5. So that game 2 is bigger than you think. And we always mention how Slayers are going to be massive in which way it swings when we look at a series layout. But Quadrant could have been going into King of the Hill recharge thinking, all right, well, this could be the series. Instead, now they're saying, well, even if we win this, we still have to go up against the Sentinels roster on maps that they are very strong at.
And it's something that we can talk about. You know, strongholds, once you have them in your control, it's very much about slaying and keeping on the move, keeping the game very fast-paced. A little bit of chaos in there as well, but with King of the Hill, you have got to be more structured. And will that lean into Sentinel's strengths?
I think it should, especially with what we've just seen in that Solitude game as well, as we look at a couple of the players to watch. I mean, 2 of the players we were mentioning as well, both were grabbing camouflages, both were looking to be those players that make a difference, Glory and Falcated. And I think that both of them are going to be key factors here in match number 3 as well, because if either of them have a flat game, then it suddenly leaves the rest of the team saying, okay, well, how do we pick up that slack? Who's going to suddenly add some of that slaying power to the roster? And even though we have seen Snipe Drone do it, we've seen SLG do it, of course, we were just talking about Precision doing it as well. I think it's the consistency in which both of these players perform every single game at putting up an average amount of kills that makes them such an integral part of their rosters.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you never really get a 4 out of 10 performance from these 2 players. You know what you're going to get. You're going to get that 6, 7, 8 out of 10 every single time. And you know that if you're going to lose a game or lose a series, it wasn't really anything to do with them. They done the job they needed to do.
Well, we're on Coach Watch here at Twickenham. Kronos, of course, has been alongside some of these Quadrant players for quite some time now. And there's always the extra responsibility. I said earlier the crowd can be, you know, the 5th player of this team, but technically the 6th player, because the coaches have a very important role here.
Just at the moment, there's been a little bit of lull in the crowd. So some murmurs, they haven't been as loud as maybe some might have expected, and that's probably because it's what Sentinels have been doing.
Probably because Snipe Drone went to the toilet, so everyone was just like, all right, well, the game's not going to start just yet. Let's go, let's get our refreshments, and then we're back in, locked in, hand warmers within the hands of said Snipe Drone. It looks like match 3 is about to get going. Now, Quadrant, if they do find themselves 2-1 behind here, that's when the crowd probably gets a little bit antsy and starts to think, well, maybe this one isn't going to go our way. If you can get the belief back into them, you can start to hear that noise again. You can build from that momentum.
A player I want to highlight is actually going to be Sika on this squad. A player that, you know, we speak about Glory and Snipe Drone and what they bring to the team, and SLG, the years of experience that he has, but Sika has been almost criminally underrated for too long, and when they got that 3rd place finish, I really feel like he came into his own, and finally everybody else started to recognize what a talented player this guy is. And now we can see how big he can be for the team. When you need a job done, no matter what it is, he can be the man for you. Well,
fist bumps all around means game is about to be underway, and I agree. I think that one of the beautiful things about Sika is he's very reserved when he's in the game, but as soon as he gets that victory, he just erupts, and you get to see the celebration from him, and he is a key factor for this Quadrant team. But now they need to answer back because they've allowed Sentinels back into this series. They've given Sentinels that belief that this pool could be entirely theirs, or at least top 2 could be theirs. You need to shut them down.
This series could have huge implications on what way the pool is going to go. They've got some big sharks in here. No fish is safe. On board with Glory, camouflage already ripe for the picking. Booba Doobu continues to jiggle peek on the glass, take damage. Sika goes for the camouflage, gets cut down. Glory gets close, puts down some damage onto Precision, pops the camouflage, so he at least has the opportunity of a burn, which he will use. 4 dead for Quadrant off the rip.
Yeah, and as you said, no fish safe, and it was Qui-Gon Jinn who said there's always a bigger fish, and Optic Gaming, of course, waiting in this pool as well, who will be eagerly hoping that they can take down one of these teams, or take down the Quadrant roster that they would face afterwards. We were lucky enough to already see Optic versus Sentinels early on today. But now with Sentinels getting that early start, denying that camouflage here for Quadrant, just means they're the chance to set up a little bit around this first hill.
I'd appreciate if we don't make too many Phantom Menace. I'm just going to keep going. Annie.
Yeah, you can't make too many.
Can't do too many. But that's my one for now. But if you go again, I get to.
All right, well, I'll stop.
Okay. One man is not going to stop. It's Boo Boo with the shock rifle. In the hill, feet planted. Goes looking for Glory and finds him. Hunting for Sika. Hits his shields. Wasn't quite able to adjust the head. is to continue to dance now on top elevator. Falcade comes out to Victor. Perhaps Snipedrone would love to have that fight back.
And that's 1-0 locked in for Sentinels. Just after that initial break, they were able to get the structure that they desired, the structure that we expect from a team with this much history and some players that have been around the merry-go-round, it might be said. As for Quadrant, they now need an answer back in this game particularly. Now this hill is one of the more difficult ones if you don't lock down certain positions. And with camouflage coming up, you need to be making sure someone's at least aware of it or going for it. Somehow, Seeker gets pushed from behind, but I think that was because of the opening frags from the likes of Booby
Glory last man standing, and barely standing at that. Lethal puts him away now. Boo has that camouflage, has the grapple, and has a kill on the Snipedrone.
What doesn't he have?
The whole world appears to be his oyster for now. And recharges playground. Seeker over towards yellow steps. Glory's in pipes. Boo has gone hunting, and Boo has found one. Perhaps waiting for that shockwave to come off the spawn, looking to grapple it. It is up now. And he's going to tip over and scoop it up. Grappling now over towards C-Plat. Straight in the face of one. Can he lock in the second one? The answer is no. But will just about Spider-Man his way out of dodge.
Just about survives, and all the meanwhile was enough of a distraction to allow Sentinels to pop that second point on the board here. Quadrant, even though they had the hill first, it was just those opening kills that really didn't allow them to set up properly, and then the camouflage, of course, they were aware of, but perhaps just were a little bit too eager to get into that hill initially. And at the moment, Sentinels just have been far more patient when it comes to some of their pushes and some of their setups, and they've been rewarded for it.
Quadrant a little bit too frantic. Lethal with the shock. It's good for one. Look at the lineup a second. Precision's there. Has to reload. Tries to get close to get the melee on the Seeker, but Precision's there to get a double kill and also pick up whatever was left, whatever remnants were on the ground of that shock rifle. Boo is in hill. And Quadrant are really struggling in this game number 3.
Yeah, Quadrant are missing something at the moment, and I think it's just there's a difference in pace between a couple of the players. Someone's there just a second before the other, and then the trade doesn't happen, or they don't get the kill that they thought they were going to achieve. And Sentinels are lapping that up. They're almost expecting the push to happen, and there, another one right in front of your very eyes. Glory just getting caught out, trying to make a little bit of a play, but was alone. It's almost like Sentinels are just setting traps around the map, waiting for a Quadrant member to fall right into it.
It was Sentinels who traveled a different continent, but it's Quadrant whose timing is off. And it's been enough, it's been significant. They've been so disjointed in this game. Still time to bring it back. But they're running out of room for error. Camouflage is down. Does Precision know it's there? Of course he does. That information was passed over. He popped it into his chest. And he will stay in the hill for just a moment before dipping away into pipes. They can start to run the clock down now. They can make Quadrant desperate.
And look, Quadrant, they get 3 dead, but they haven't found the camouflage player, and that's going to be so frustrating for them. Well, never mind, because Snipedrone was able to just catch that camouflage player off guard. And that is massive. That could be a turn in the tide for them. They needed something just like that to really put themselves back into the question of this game.
Lethal receives 3 shots, top tower. Gets his shields popped in the end. Boo also down on double stacks, and as he clambers up towards Needles. Has he been spotted? The answer is yes. They've got tabs on him. They've dealt with the threat for now. Seeker's in the respawn screen as well. Lethal's going to join him. Quadrant have the numbers advantage now. Snipedrone's going to step in. 1v1 against Precision. 3 shots in. And his teammate on hand. SLG will secure the hill. Precision will get the kill. This next one's going to be huge.
The crowd enjoying that one, but I think Quadrant enjoying it too, because boy did they need it. And it was just 1-4 dead, but it was a 3 dead and 1 later for Quadrant. That allowed them to get that initial setup, and it allowed Snipedrone to get into an anchoring position when he's at his very best. He knows when to peek, he knows which angles to take, and now he has the shock rifle. Sentinels again find themselves 3 dead, so this is going to be a good chunk of time, but that camouflage is spawning. And Quadrant have not done well at getting the camo. It's been all about Sentinels utilizing the grapple to get hold of it themselves.
Do Quadrant now risk map control to secure the camouflage?
They should.
Boo has scooped it up. Boo dead. It's going to be a burn. They have map control, and they have numbers. 2 down for Sentinels. Can they spot them out? I thought for a second Snipedrone had been stuck, but it appears as though I was wrong. Back into the hill he goes. Falcate's back blue. This is a great position for Falcate to be, just to make this a very difficult task. Snipe Jones trying to milk the hill for as long as possible, but Boo Boo's there to shut him down.
Definitely a lot more coordinated now from Quadrant, but 3 full. Again, you're looking at a player like Snipe Jones to hit one of those shots to be the difference maker when the push is happening from Sentinels, but now they get the chance to set up themselves. Always important to have a shroud in your back pocket, just to save you in scenarios like that too.
Boo Boo with shock. Could be instrumental in what way this hill's going to be heading. Seek is down, as is SLG. Glory could be about to join them if he's not too careful. Snipe Jones heading towards bottom middle. Last man standing now. Snipe Jones, huge damage, but has got to back away and needs to live, and he won't do so. And that's going to be more staggered spawns. This is huge now for Sentinels. One more hole should be good enough.
Yeah, I think Glory thought he was going to be able to push out, be aggressive, and be unspotted by the Sentinels roster, but as soon as he was seen, it just allowed them to play those grenades onto double stack. Precision gets yet another. He will take this fight all day, but SLG holds strong. Needed to as well. They needed a kill like that to be able to break this setup. But still, Sentinels somehow, some way, are holding a lot of presence around this hill.
Boo Boo was throwing nukes. Seeker was forced to back away. Boo Boo had initial damage and capitalizes on it too. Very little time now required for Sentinels to secure this one. And they're getting a little bit desperate now, our Quadrant. 3 dead. 3 men from Sentinels in and around the hill, and they will capture it.
3-1, 1 minute 34 left on the clock, and we've got to go bottom middle. So Sentinels, I imagine they could just decide to play the clock here if they would like. Camouflage is there though, and you know, we've seen a lot of glory on that camouflage, but it's not going to be happening here on recharge. 3 do go down for Sentinels though, so this is a chance for Quadrant. They just need to be kind of dancing around that hill, enough to keep that clock at a winnable position. If they allow to get it too low, I think Sentinels will just be able to play in such a defensive manner that will deny Quadrant's attempts here.
Glory with camouflage. Can he begin to dictate play? Pull the strings here. Precision stays alive for the moment. Camouflage is burned. We speak about the slaying power on the side of Sentinels. Look at the game Lethal's having. 21, 5, and 13. Instrumental in why they're winning this game.
Yeah, we spoke about the consistent players in each roster, but there's also the players who can have those massive games that can change things for their side. Lethal's having one of them here today. 58 seconds left. Quadrant do have control of the hill though. If they can make this 3-2 with still a good 50 seconds left, this is still very winnable, still very achievable to take it towards OT. And it looks like Sentinels, they'll give one last push just to try and force Quadrant out here, but they don't want to overcommit and then allow Quadrant to have the back-to-back setups.
It's always a risk to play time, particularly with how King of the Hill is set up. When you step into the hill, the clock stops. 2 dead for Quadrant though. Snipe Jones did see a shock rifle there, opted not to pick it up this time though. Continues to fire over towards Boo Boo Doo Boo, but he's got a player positioned behind them. That's perfect from Sentinels. Do a little poke damage, back away, your teammate gets the kill. Seek in a 1v1, Seeker wins it.
A lot of 1v1s that we've seen Quadrant just coming out on top of. Had they not, then this game would have already been done, but they're just keeping themselves alive, just doing enough. Snipe Drone trying to do exactly the same. That's what they need. They need to be stepping up. They need to be winning these fights, as they will lock in a second hill, but now only 21 seconds left to try and get in any sort of position to start scoring. But Precision and Falcated, they're already over there. 2 kills go in favor of Sen. 14 seconds left. Quadrant with one last push here.
Your money might not jiggle, but Snipe Drone does. Running out of time now. Precision, standing guard. Glory slides forward, but straight to the crosshairs. Running out of time. Seek is in the hill. Can Sentinels clear it out? Camouflage for Lethal. Soaring forward. Eviction orders in hand. Seek is taken care of. Lethal steps out, but Quadrant's still in the hill. Quadrant still holding, but that's all they have time for. 4 dead. Sentinels win.
And Sentinels take the lead in this series. And even though there was those few moments from Quadrant where they just kept themselves close enough, kept themselves within that grasping chance, sadly, we're not able to get there. A lot of desperate attempts in those final moments, all bundling their way into the hill. They just left it too late. The clock was not on their side, but that was by design from the Sentinels roster, of course. Ever since they went 3-1 up, they were more than happy to put themselves in that scenario. It's always that worrying situation where you're like, is there a chance they're going to be able to do this one? But, you know, the camouflage was going to be the key factor there.
For Quadrant, it must be said, they really lost that in the first couple of hills. The way they played, so disjointed, not their usual selves, it would seem, and they were like putty into the hands of these Sentinels boys. Difficult thing, Dan, as we look towards the next game in the series. Argyle, CTF, you very clearly spoke about how from here on out this series starts to slide the way of Sentinels, and with them already in the ascendancy, that's only trouble for us, isn't it, really? I
mean, it certainly trends toward the old style of Sentinels and Spartan with the sniper rifle on Argyle CTF, but you give it to Precision, you give it to Falcated, they can also do damage. I think it's going to come down to who's hitting their shots a little bit better, because there's fantastic snipers on both sides of these teams. But the momentum now shifts towards Sentinels, and this was what I was maybe a little bit concerned about, because as soon as you get into these heavily focused sniper maps, if you're a team like Sentinels who's playing in a much more kind of structured manner, they should be able to take a game like this. Whereas Quadrant, they did look a little bit disjointed at times, and it was a surprise in the early stages. They can't afford to go one down here in Argyle, right? It was all right. They were able to just crawl their way back in to recharge. They were able to crawl their way back in at times on Slayer Solitude. You can't really crawl your way back in on CTF Argyle. If you go one down to a team who knows how to play it, you are going to have a bad day.
It'll be a long night. You're down by one on CTF Argyle. You can watch that time dwindle away and just really never get close to capturing a flag. And looking at the CTF defensive woes, Dan, average caps for Quadrant. This, of course, against European opposition. It looks good for Quadrant, but it must be said, Sentinels playing against higher tier players, so their stats are not going to look as juicy.
Yeah, when you look at Quadrant stats, I mean, we know what they can do and the damage that they do it in Europe as well, but you look at when they face North American teams who can rival them in the way that they snipe and the way that they move, that's when we've seen Quadrant struggle typically in the past. So we just need to see Quadrant get a lead here, and then it'll be a very different game for them. But I'm just concerned that Sentinels, with how they've been playing, the momentum they have on their side now, if they were to get that first flag, it might be all she wrote. So the first flag going to be so crucial here on Argyle, as it always is.
If seeds are going to dictate things, and with the way the pool is set up, Dan, we call this one the pool of death. Optic in there, who you would expect and everyone would expect to be top of the pool. This one was really for second and third, if the way they're going to go the way they are. Sentinels in the ascendancy, Sentinels one away, and Quadrant have got to win this one here to keep their hopes alive of taking down the series.
Although, that being said, we have seen Quadrant beat Optic before, of course, very famously at Optic's home turf, on their home ground. And we'll have to see whether, however, that goes down later on, because that will also feature on the main stage. Quadrant versus Optic will be coming up after this series. And at the moment, it's Sentinels who have the lead, and it's the sniper rifle battle I was talking about. Precision has that responsibility on his shoulders, and boy, is he a joy to watch, and has been phenomenal so far this series.
Takes the sniper rifle out of the back pocket, swinging a miss on one. Nothing connects to the first three. I think Dan might have cursed him, or perhaps he can spare his flushes here. Body shot connects. Falcated on hand to provide the assist. Almost with a fadeaway snow scope as well. Snipe drone gets a trade, a big trade with the way that flag was positioned.
Yeah, Falcated knew he had to get aggressive. He had to push that kill initially. If he had just kept running, he would have gone down anyway. But Quadrant do send that flag home. One thing you might have noticed from those stats is the success rate that Quadrant have at returning flags. They're pretty good off spawn and knowing which angles to be taking and where to be planting those grenades to deny any sort of flag run. So for all I say that the first flag is going to be very important, I can promise you Quadrant are going to make it difficult for Sentinels to get that flag to their own base. Which you'd hope anyway, it's the aim of the game. But SLG has a sniper rifle, Glory has the sniper rifle. Glory's found 3 kills elsewhere. It's all 4 dead, the flag is moving, and it's all looking good for the green team.
The man from Cork can do it all. 3 kills with the sniper rifle and picks up the flag as well. You can be an objective player and a slayer at the same time, it would seem. He's a 2-on-1. You've heard of Swiss Army knives. This one's Irish. 1-0 to Quadrant.
And boy, did they need that. Not just to breathe life back into the room, but also for their chances in this game. To deny Sentinels to have that lead, to be able to play with structure. Now, they force Sentinels to just up the ante, to play a little bit faster. And that is typically when Sentinels would struggle, where Quadrant can take advantage of just taking a pure Slayer fight against them. But it was that sniper rifle of Glory that really did make the difference. We saw Precision earlier, miss a couple of shots, but then on the kill feed, it was all Glory with what could have been a triple kill for all we know. But as you mentioned, he was also there waiting to pick up the flag.
He got it again. The wig wobbler. As he heads up towards mid-map now. Waiting for his latest victim. Gets one. Falcated in the grave. 3 dead for Sentinels. Boo gets a big kill, and that could just hurt the progress of this one. Heading towards screens. He almost lines up Falcate. Got the QT as well. This flag appears to be making inroads now towards home base. Glory not doing a lot of damage, but as I say that, rips the face off one. The flag down. Quadrant patiently waits. Snipe drone slides in. 2-0 the score.
So important that Quadrant went for that second flag as well. They recognized they were in the ascendancy. They had the kills going in their favor. They were out slaying Sentinels in that moment. And they took advantage of the momentum. They didn't just sit back. They didn't just take the 1-0 lead, which we have seen teams win on Argyle capture the flag. And now if Sentinels were going to have to up the pace previously, now even more so. Still 8 minutes remaining. That's one of the upsides for Sentinels here, is there's plenty of time. But it has been the sniper rifle that's made the difference for Quadrant.
Quadrant with 30 kills. Sentinels with 21. Separated by 9. 2 caps difference though. And that's the score that really matters here. 2 to the good. Boo and Falcate in the grave. Precision trying to put a stop to this one, and does. Gets a double kill, and a big one at that.
Yeah, if anyone's going to step up now, it has to be a player like Precision. Seeing what Glory was doing in the kill feed, he has to replicate that some way, but doesn't have a sniper rifle to do so. So instead, you need to be working together, pushing together to overwhelm the Quadrant roster, but...
Oh, Seeker.
Seeker stands strong.
He was wobbling.
Lethal does clean it up, but looks like Quadrant, there's always that extra player for Quadrant at the moment. This is what they were missing in some of the earlier games. That extra player had already fallen in the previous maps. But now they're being a nuisance. They're like cockroaches just surviving around every corner, and Sentinels can't quite burn them down.
Seeker now, exploring his options. Falcate down to no shields, using the grapple to get away. He will live for now. Lethal lands a lovely body shot. Seeker forced to back away. Glory lands a body shot onto Boo. Drives his team forward now. They have numbers advantage. 3 dead for a moment for Sentinels. Precision just about avoids that headshot. But Glory is just in the pocket with the sniper rifle, causing carnage right now.
Wow, he started off patient there, but he recognized and listened. Heard that they started to retreat. If you turn your back to Glory, you know full well he's going to jump down with a sniper rifle, take advantage. Now Snipe Drone again moving that flag. 3 dead for Sentinels temporarily. 3rd flag's on the go here. And it's Glory again at the helm, saying, look, you run it, I'll get the kills.
He's been clinical so far. And I'll tell you something, if Quadrant are going to win this, it's off the back of what he's been doing. Snipe Drone driving this one home. 2 in the grave for Sentinels. Takes damage, gets shut down. Is there anybody else on hand to slide in and punch this one home?
Glory's there, Seeker's just below. They need to work together. Boo Boo's going to have one last ditch attempt, but he goes down. Here comes the slide, and here comes the game. As we're going to a game 5, Quadrant will not fall.
Quadrant stand tall. Of course, this series is going to deliver a game 5.
And the band in-house starting to make some noise with the rest of the crowd as they want to have a party, they want to have a celebration party.
Just want to say 180 on the top of my lungs. What a performance from Quadrant. Dan, that was not close. That was definitive.
That was why Glory was added to the team. And we've been waiting to see a game like that where we can truly say that one man can make a huge difference if you give him the right weapons, the right tools, the right positions, but an unsung hero has to be Snipe Drone. He was always in there, grabbing the flag. I know Glory had that potential triple and then he got the flag pull, but Snipe Drone was constantly in the face of Sentinels, not allowing them to push out off spawn, always taking those 1v1s and then running the flag afterwards. Snipe Drone, who often plays this anchor role, often plays the sniper role. The good thing about having two players that have, well, 3 players, 4 players that know how to play that role is that if you have a sniper in that position, you know full well you are comfortable from certain angles, and you are going to be able to safely push into certain areas.
That's the key word, right? Safety. You know when Glory's standing behind you and he's got the scope out, you know you can push certain angles because even if you do start to get shot, he will land the body shot to help you out in that fight. And Snipe Drone, more like Flag Drone, driving that one home for his team. And we're going to a game 5. I know you're going to tell me this one favors, but the form goes out the window.
I mean, the form's been out the window.
It's a shootout.
Apart from Stronghold's live fire that went the way of Quadrant, it's been the other way for both teams with form, with consistency, with what we've seen before. But this happens a lot, right? The teams practice the game types that they were bad at the previous event, that they've been struggling in scrims. Slayer Streets, well, when it comes to game 5s, you would always look towards a team like Sentinels who have that experience, have that history to be able to clutch up in the moment. But again, momentum always will play a part in any game of Halo.
And how funny is it that we know as teams, they have some bad game types. They go back after a tournament and they get stronger on those game types. But they seem to then rest on their laurels with some of the ones that they were stronger at and they lose some ground on them. And they find themselves, oh, we think this one's in the bag for us, but actually it's not.
Well, Snipe Drone, the leading player with the highest KD at the moment on Quadrant. It's Precision who's been doing the most damage on the flip side, and 2 players who play very different roles but also can be the star players at the right time. And you know what, we can look at stats, we can look at KD, but let's look at what happened in the previous game, right? Glory gets a sniper rifle. Had he not had that big moment when he got the triple, or what was close to a triple, could have been Sentinels starting to build momentum. They could have got structure on the map. They could have been the team. It was just before that happened. Precision had that sniper rifle, missed a couple of shots, wasn't able to have that pop-off moment, and those are the minor differences that can really change a game.
And even for just your confidence alone, if you hit them shots, you silence the crowd, or you hear a pop in the crowd, all of a sudden you start to line up a few more shots. And that's exactly what Glory did. He started to hit a couple of shots, people started to get a bit loud, and he started to feel himself. Confidence can be such a huge issue and such a huge factor in Halo. But we're underway in our game 5. Slayer, we're rocking and rolling, folks.
Well, can Quadrant give the reason to the band to play once more and get the crowd on their feet? Or are we going to see Sentinels just quieten everyone down? Well, at the moment, it's Glory carrying that momentum from game 4 right into game 5 with the Bulldog. It's a 3-kill lead. Camo's about to spawn. And the Shroud used effectively to ensure that Quadrant can get this. So not only do they have the early lead, but now they've got the power up too.
Seagull be hoping the boys can tune the band. They can land the sweet chin music. They've got 2 in the grave for now. They've answered back though. Seeker desperately trying to live, but being hassled, being harried. Precision is there. Double kill locked in. We're all square. Excuse me, 8-6. My eyes aren't what they used to be. There was 2 kills in the difference and remains that for now. Snipe Drone slides out on no shields. It was ill-advised. Straight into the welcoming arms of Lethal's bandit rifle. Double kill for him and he rolls away.
Yeah, good response here from Sentinels, even though the camouflage didn't go their way. Now it is all tied up. Don't worry about your eyes. It's maybe just foresight at this point. Suddenly, Sentinels take the lead. And this could end up being a very nervy game of Street Slayer as well, if it's back and forth. But all 4 dead on the side of Sentinels. Hands back favor to Quadrant once more, and they know where they're spawning. And typically, Snipe Drone the one who would anchor, get damage from a distance, and then he sends the rest of the boys in to do the damage. But they're waiting. They're not sure where Sentinel's going to come from. So they say, look, you come to us and we'll take the fight. But Precision from distance. Lethal was just bait there.
Perhaps they'd love to have that one back. Just handing the initiative over to Sentinels. And they'll capitalize on that all day long. You have to be the one to make the decisions, be the aggressor, push the envelope, and they allow Sentinels to come out on every different route, and they lose the fights. And now Sentinels in control of the map. Sentinels have the Bulldog.
It reminds me a little bit of when Snipe Drone used to be on the Ascend roster. This game type in particular, where they had the lead right towards the end of the game against Native, and then just those few kills didn't go their way because they gave them the initiative, because they held off and they forced them to do something. Sometimes the best form of defense is offense, and maybe that'll be a lesson learned for Quadrant just in that moment. But 18 all. Glory has plenty of opportunity to move around the map in which way he wants here, but he's very aware of the spawns, probably being communicated by the rest of the team. He's got it again. This is a dangerous loadout.
And again, he's been entrusted with the weapons to carve a hole in the Sentinel's defense, to drive his team forward. He gets cut down without having too much of an influence with the weapons. Falcate gets 2, and a big 2. SLG back tower. Both teams continue to jiggle peek, continue to do damage, poke and prod, try and find some weaknesses. And a full rotation from Sentinels now as they abandon the arcade side and move over towards Tram and L.
Sentinels are moving as a unit far better than Quadrant.
Oh,
Almost a triple for Falcated as well there. As SLG just scarpers away. But Quadrant, they're a bit sporadic at times. Glory playing extremely fast, and it has worked out when he's had that Bulldog in his hand, so there's not any real complaints with a tight game like this. They just need to be careful they don't get caught off too often. As for Sentinels, they have that small lead now they can work with. And you can almost feel it. The Sentinels, they want to slow this game down. They want to gain the lead and say to Quadrant, right, what have you got to try and break our setups? But Quadrant off spawn, they are always holding forward. They are always pressing. They're always taking the fight. But at the moment, Falcated with a killing spree, he's been able to shut them down one by one.
pressing forward, but too often putting themselves in peril. 3 kills now. Make it 4. SLG top tower down a couple of shots now. Lethal gets snipe drone, and the collapse is coming. Imagine these two players have not got long for this world. Glory, a big trade would be huge here. Cannot secure it for his team. Lethal gets the kill, and they'll continue to roll forward, and you cannot see them stand still. They are going to drive forward, and this is what Quadrant should have done.
A few desperate cries from the crowd as well, as tension starting to raise now. You can feel the shift in the room as it's an 8-kill lead for Sentinels. We've been in a lot of home arenas, Optic, SSG, and now for Quadrant here. What have they got left? 7 kills behind. Only 14 needed for Sentinels now. It's still within touching distance. But there is an element of control now for this Sentinel squad, who are really setting the pace of this game, denying the speed that Quadrant want to play.
Just taking the sting out of the game. Forcing Quadrant to think about the decisions a little bit more. More risk, less reward. Down by 9 now. Boo-Boo pushes forward, looking for a bait and switch. Snipe drone gets 1. Falcate answers back with a double kill. Precision's there as well. 7 required, and Quadrant just have not got going in this game 5.
What a turnaround this has been from Sentinels in this game. As soon as they were given that little bit of wiggle room to take control, boy, have they seized it. And what an important game it could be when we look at how Sentinels, how far they can go in this tournament, whether they can reach that top 4 placement again that we would expect from a team like this. To be able to push themselves into the top 2 of this pool would be massive for their chances. And at the moment, it's trending that way, but there's still a small amount of hope for Quadrant here. Just need to deny some of these kills, but Lethal happy to take the fights. And that double kill might be the first nail in the coffin here for Quadrant.
When Lethal's hitting shots like that, Quadrant and everybody else better be put on notice. 4 required now. It's a long road back. There's still some hope. The crowd start to get loud, and maybe they believe. But do Quadrant. 2 more in their favor. It's a 4-kill game now.
This is a split spawn at the moment for Sentinels. They are under pressure. Quadrant have to take advantage of it. Start to pinch, start to prod, start to put as much damage in with precision. Dancing around, but it is now a 3-kill game. Camouflage in the hand. It's a 2-kill game. And all of a sudden, is it falling apart for Sentinels here as Quadrant begin to believe?
Hold the phone. Maybe there's a chance. Lethal falls. 1 kill required. 3. Precision locks it in. Game 5 victory for Sentinels.
That's one of the most animated reactions I've ever seen from Lethal on the main stage as well. So you can see what it meant for him to silence the crowd, to silence the home team. A huge win for Sentinels and their chances of moving forward in this competition in an advantageous seed. For Sentinels, it is, of course, about getting that victory and how good it's going to feel, but for Quadrant, they now have to go into the series against Optic Gaming knowing that they were only a few kills away from taking down Sentinels.
And how often do we hear that about a lower seeded team or even just a European team that they were so close, and they'll go back to the hotel later on, they'll analyze the footage and they'll say, if this had just gone our way, if I had turned left instead of right, maybe the whole complexion of this series is different. And I want to speak about Sentinels, about the bounce back in that game 5. You go down 3-0 in that Argyle, which typically is a very good game type for them. And they bounce back in the Slayer. And they look dominant at times, up until that little nervy finish, but it's always seemed to be in the bag.
Even though it was a nervy finish, you could see that the call-outs were very much communicated effectively by Sentinels. Just that damage that was done with beatdowns and the one-shots that were available, Precision in particular, putting himself in harm's way to ensure that he did clean up what was available and to finish that game. 50-47 looks very close, and it was. I think when Quadrant look back, it's going to be that King of the Hill recharge for me. The initial 2 hills where they were a little bit flat off the back of that Slayer, and again, that could be pressure. It could be one of those moments where they were so high off the first victory, they get shut down immediately in map number 2 on the Slayer, and then they start to think, okay, maybe we're not going to be able to do this for the fans here. Very impressed with the response from Sentinels, but we have to look at the positives for Quadrant as well. It's not like this is going to be the end of their tournament, right? It's still just pool play for them. The downside is now they have to go into the Optic series with a win. They need a win to give themselves that chance of getting into the winner's bracket rather than playing through elimination.
And that is, you spoke about the response that they can have in maybe at the end of that series and in that series in general, but you speak about it on the horizon for them now. Up next, Optic Gaming. They don't even have to leave the main stage. They can leave all their stuff there, get comfortable. But now they're playing against one of the heavyweights, one of the big boys, and Optic Gaming, they're going to be coming to play.
Does help though for Quadrant. They are warmed up, they are on the stage, but of course you're going to have the kind of feelings, the overwhelming feelings of what's just happened in that previous game. We start to ask the questions to your teammates. Why did we lose that one? What went wrong? And you need to have that conversation because it's an important conversation to have, but then move on very quickly to start to look at the next series layout. What do we need to do different to be able to beat Optic? The good thing for Quadrant and for you Quadrant fans is they've done it before, and Optic will know full well that Quadrant will come to play here in this final series of the day.
Well, one man that did come to play is Boo Boo Doo Boo. Blaze has got an interview. Take it away, fella.
Thank you so much, Shurs. London, show some love to Sentinels as they come out on top and they continue throughout the tournament. I got Boo Boo Doo Boo with me on the main stage, and you know, Boo Boo, especially with a metabolic age of 12, you're going to be in your prime for a very long time. How does it feel to get this win in this tough environment?
I mean, it feels great. We're on like a losing streak on LAN. That was our first win in like 4 series, so got that out of the way. And I love playing in front of that crowd. That crowd is super energetic, and we just feed off of it. Honestly, playing in like the main stage is just so intimate right now. Like I can just feel the energy anytime. It's like drums beating and stuff like that. It's super sick.
Definitely is, okay? And, you know, let's talk a little bit about gameplay. You know, you saw the map series. You saw you was going against Quadrant at home. What was the game plan to take them down? It was a close game 5 series.
Yeah, I mean, we don't get to practice them at all since they're in Europe, you know, so kind of like a wild card, like knowing how they play, kind of got to adjust like mid-series. But, I mean, it felt pretty comfortable. That Argyle, we kind of trolled it, like just getting 3-0'd, slammed, so we definitely got to look back at that and like try to fix our mistakes going forward. But the rest of the series we played pretty good. I think we won both the Slayers, right? So that's good. Slayers win tournaments, so.
Slayers win tournaments. And then lastly right here, how does it feel to be at full force with this squad? Last event didn't come out the way you want, but how does it feel to have the squad firing off on full cylinders?
I mean, it's vibey, bro. It's vibey. I mean, I love Ethan, I love TJ, I love Mike, I love Kyle. It's a really good squad to be a part of, so I'm really excited to just continue this run.
All right, best of luck to you, Boo. And that's going to do it for us here on the interview. Lottie, let's break all of this down.
Thank you so much, Blaze. It's all love on Sentinels, and they're going to love the result at the end of that series. It was close. It was a nail-biter. There was so much fight in both of our teams, but Sentinels, they get it done, and they're very happy with that result. You know, you can see on Boo Boo's face, he's like, oh, thank God for that. That's over, because playing in front of the home crowd is no joke. It's difficult. Although he's feeding off of it, he knows he was up there as the villains, obviously, with the hometown crowd. And got to say, Sentinels, they were lights out, but so were Quadrant. So many moments to talk talk about here. And Tony, I want to talk about some of the outliers that you're seeing in that first game, especially in the strongholds. Such good objective work, and the Slays as well, they were very even.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the highlights literally right now here on Live Fire. There was actually even as far as Slays. They both had 66 kills, which is crazy to think about because Quadrant had 100 more points, or close to, I'm sorry, 94 more points. Close to 100 more points than the opposition. That just tells me the objective efficiency is there, and we called them the best stronghold team in the world. They might still be in that conversation.
They certainly could indeed, and I've got to say, from strongholds to King of the Hill here, it got very close at the end. I remember saying, nice try, boys. That, unfortunate. Couldn't quite get that last second in this hill here at B, and it was really, really difficult for them. But things changed. The tides were totally different in this Argyle game, and how wrong we got it. I mean, you couldn't predict it if you tried, Harry, to be perfectly honest, but that Argyle CTF game was so clean.
Honestly, what were we talking about? Like, we were totally wrong. Like, compared to what we expected with the CTF track record, going to a game and map in particular where you have to be so structured and coordinated, they did it perfectly. And one of the reasons why was due to the fact that every single time they pushed in or getting quite close onto their flag, Sentinels was not trading any kills. And because they weren't traded, there's always going to be 4 members of Quadrant alive every single time they go for those flag grabs. But they pinned them down and put so much pressure and suffocated them perfectly on Sniper side every single time with all 3 flag caps. And what makes it even better is that they didn't overcommit to the objective a lot of the time. They made sure just to play it safe, reslay again, just keep a track record and eyes on exactly where they're lurking, what they're going to be. And what adds to that is how they adapted. They knew the routes which Sentinels were taking. They knew exactly the counter-attack they're going to provide in order to try and get it back. And every single time, they just got shut down. Glory went off the snipe a number of occasions and just did what he does best.
It's funny you actually mentioned that because one of my notes is Glory's looking ever so comfortable up there, especially with the sniper in his hand. But you can just see the kind of the elevation of his gameplay across this title has been so nice. And obviously, Quadrant saw something in him to pick him up, to kind of put him in that mix and that roster. He's looking really good up there. So I'm excited to see the rest of the growth of this Quadrant roster. I don't think that this kind of situation here with Sentinels and not winning that final game 5 is going to be the end of it for them. This is the beginning, the heat up of Quadrant. I'm excited to see what they do with the rest of the weekend. Of course, that did end 3-2, and here are the stats across the board here. Tony, picking upon anything that you want to talk about here? Is there anything that's really standing out to you?
Yeah, I have 3 shout-outs.
Go on, shout them out.
One, Precision, you were absolutely incredible, and you were incredible all series long. What you did in game number 2 was absolutely amazing. 17 kills, matching Snipe Drone on the other side of things. Going into that game 5, a big reversal to give you guys momentum, and then you're the one who got the final kill. Quadrant were clawing the way back into it before that little jiggle peak reversal in arcade. So definitely want to give a shout out to Precision. Also want to give a shout out to Lethal as well. And the stats show it. KD wise, he has really stepped it up. And you see a 1.27 KD. And my last shout out is going to be to the crowd. This home crowd was on fire for Quadrant. And I promise you, it helps more than you think. I would imagine. Was there a marching band in here? It was absolutely crazy in here. So I'll say my shout outs are Precision, Lethal, and this home crowd because they were incredible.
Yeah, they certainly were. Yes, we had a trumpet and drums. It was getting electric in here. So
we had the full orchestra,
we did.
pretty much.
We had pretty much everything. And of course, you can't forget the crowds who are joining in and getting really involved there with the chants and everything, which we love to see. But you're so right there, I think, in terms of the Sentinel side of things. 2 incredible players who not only just stepped up in this series, but have been doing it from the series we'd seen previously too. I mean, Lethal at one point, he was dropping, he was in the 30s, high 30s, way before everyone else in the lobby. This guy's also on fire, which is just amazing to see that growth out of this team.
And even on Sentinels, normally you see the falcated or the precision with the in the slaying department, but Lethal just coming out strong, 1.27, not something you normally see every day. Going from track record in scrims is not somebody who's been accustomed by. He's been extremely good at support, extremely good in getting that damage dealt, but the fact that he's slaying on top of that is just ludicrous in itself. And even Snipe Drone as well, you're looking at the glories, or like in terms of like bringing that slaying power up a little bit more. It was Snipe Drone the entire time.
Indeed, it was. I love to see people feeling super comfortable up there on the main stage. Here's pool play for you guys, and things aren't actually super comfortable for a couple of our teams. Now we've got some scores happening on the board here, and as you can see, we have Pool B filling in very nicely, which is where we were just at, folks. Sentinels, they will take that one over Quadrant, leaving Quadrant 0 for 1. I don't want to say 0. 0 is not a great way of saying 0. I don't know if I'm American or British. I don't know where I am, to be perfectly honest. Optic Gaming, though, sitting quite pretty on the top of Pool B, and Sentinels, they're 1 for 1 right now, looking to take that second spot, secure themselves against the open bracket team. But Quadrant, you know, they're going to give it a good go as well. This is for them to have that bounce back and hopefully go into the championship bracket without a hitch as well. I'm looking at a couple of other scores. Oh yeah, Shopify Rebellion 2-0, looking pretty nice in Pool D as well. Currently heading that one very strong. Open bracket team, what can you do? What have you got? The upsets are going to get harder and harder for our open bracket teams as we're kind of seeing things fill in here. Have you got any open bracket teams you got your eye on? I know it's Europe. I know we had Native Gaming. They bumped up, you know, now to pool play. But are you hoping for a potential upset in some of our pools, Tony?
I mean, I really am. I got my eyes on a bunch of teams. There was actually one squad that was supposed to be in pool play. You know, you got Monster in the crew.
Yes.
I believe, I want to say Shock is filling in as their sub, as opposed to King Dick, who couldn't make it. That's still a very, very good squad. So watch out for Rami, watch out for Manny, watch out for Monster, and of course you got you also have Shock coming in as that sub. They really still can make it out of pool, out of open and into pools.
They certainly can indeed. Well, folks, we're going to head to a quick break right now, but when we come back, we have Quadrant once again on the main stage. They aren't going anywhere. Their seats are warm and they're ready for a dub, but it's going to be against Optic Gaming. Can they do it? This is a rivalry, folks. We'll see you right after this.
The HCS London Major is presented by AMD and by Streamlabs.
Party's over. You belong to me.
Satisfactory.
Special delivery. Betrayal. Combat evolved.
I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin.
Some of us game, others want to break out. Some of us come to hang out. We may be here for different reasons, but what we all have in common is the need to share. Streamlabs. Unleash your live.
taken.
Good evening, Halo fans, and welcome back to the HCS London Major. It is so good having you join us in London, the UK. It is nighttime, the sun has set, but don't worry, things are still pretty lively and bright in here in this main room in our almost WrestleMania-esque main stage area. And joining me on the desk, I have Wes Price, and I also have Richie Hines, a special guest. He's actually the HCS competition coordinator. Richie, so good of you to have, come up here and share some exciting potential things with us. How are you feeling today? Welcome to London.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. It's been a great day. Some really epic matches so far, so I'm excited to get this final one between Optic and Quadrant going. But first, we got to talk about some ranked maps.
We certainly do indeed. Okay, so Heinz, when you come up on the desk, we usually have some goodies for the people, and you mentioned some maps here. So what have you got in store for us today?
Yeah, so soon, coming into summer, we have 2 new ranked maps. First one's called Origin.
Ooh.
It's a remake of Coliseum in Halo 5.
Okay.
And the other one is Fortress. It's a completely new design, and I'm really excited to show you guys.
Okay, so that's one thing, Richie, and I know you're excited, but my question is to this big man here. How excited should we be, Wes, about these 2?
I'm very excited. You know me, I like snipes on maps, and both of these feature the S7. I think Coliseum, one of my favorite personal map from Halo 5, the remake in Origin is going to be exciting to watch. Players will have an idea of how it plays in the geography around it, but I'm super excited for Fortress most of all because it is a new map and has 2 S7s, overshield bottom middle, and a lot of opportunity for highlight clips if you can put the team in a trap. I think it plays like a traditional Halo map as well. But as we take a look at the overlook on Origin, let's jump into this Forerunner map and talk about it.
Yeah, so this map was designed by Hi and Mike, Karmaplex, and Dark Maiming. They did an amazing job with not only the art, but the design from a competitive perspective. And I know, Wes, I've seen you playing this so much. Just talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it plays so similar to Halo 5. Even thrust bottom middle rockets are obviously top rocks, and then you have the S7 subsetting it across the map over here, but it does traditionally play so similar to what we know the great Halo 5 map of Coliseum. CTF, the predominant game type on it, but also Slayer is going to be featured on it as well. And all these different pieces feel like they fit so well with Infinite. The big thing for me is the movement differences that Infinite are going to bring players' capabilities in order to change the meta and define what Halo Infinite brings to a map like Coliseum.
Indeed, it's so funny looking across this as well because there's so many Halo 5 memories just rushing through my brain right now. I remember seeing Lucid previously, then Saiyan just tearing people apart back then on Halo 5. I mean, the Phase Boys, which were previously Tox. I mean, there's so many memories. But Richie, how excited are you to see that now being played in Halo Infinite and creating new memories with a new meta?
Yeah, we have new players that are going to make amazing plays on an old map, and it's going to be so much fun to watch. And as you can see, the map looks great.
Yes.
There's still some work to be done. They are work in progress, but these forwards are going to put some final touches on them. They're going to look amazing. And I'm really excited for you guys to see the design of Fortress.
Okay, well, speaking of, let's take a look at it. So Fortress, talk to me about how this one was worked out, because I know you're really excited. You've been non-stop talking about this in the green room. Richie, what can we expect with this brand new medieval-looking map?
Yeah, as you can see, it's a really cool art designed by Mick Rips and Ethan Hibbs. Shout out to them. They've done an amazing job. And from a competitive perspective, the influence was from a little bit of Sanctuary and a little bit of Onslaught. So you got the fast pace of Onslaught, and then you have the dual snipe battles of Sanctuary.
Yeah, I'm stoked to get a map that's not a remake back into the ranked topper, into hopefully the HCS main stage. And I think that this is by far my favorite map mode combination in CTF to play in-house, as I'll say, when we're running games, when we're running scrims, basically. I have so much fun every time this loads up. It plays such like a traditional Halo map where you have to control specific areas, you force spawns in certain areas, and you can really pop off and feel like you're in control of the map at times. So the S7s create highlight reels. The overshield bottom middle creates a lot of opportunity every single time it comes up to create a good push with your team. And there's so many different dynamic places to try and hold down in order to have success with the objective efficiency. You can run the flag in several different ways effectively as long as you're maintaining those positions of power and controlling where the enemy team's going to spawn. I think that this is going to be a massive hit for all of our fans out there for the HCS, and I can't wait to see some of the big dogs like FaZe and SSG and Optic to get their hands on this map and see how far they can push the meta.
I'm excited because to me that just sounds like there's so many different strategies that are going to come out of the woodworks. I think they're going to work this in so many different ways and angles, which is very exciting because we'll also see how the counter opportunities come in as well. Absolutely gorgeous looking map. I've just got to say this is stunning. Something that we have not got in Halo Infinite currently. So love how different this looks, but also really excited to see Origin as well. You know, Coliseum has a big place in my heart. So really excited to see both of these new maps in rotation. I hope you folks in this very building are excited too, because here's news to you, you can play it right now. That is right, you can go and get your hands on both these brand new maps. Really excited to see what you guys think. If you are here on site, make sure you go try those out, test those out, tweet us, see what you like about them, tell us how amazing they are. We want to know your feedback, so you guys get your hands on those today, which is amazing. Now, Richie, before you leave, I've got to ask, have you got any final thing that you could maybe tell us, any little, little bit of information that we can walk away with?
Yeah, so one more thing. Starting next week, we will be introducing 2 new permanent ranked playlists to Halo Infinite. We will have Ranked Slayer and Ranked Doubles becoming permanent playlists starting next week. And we did not forget about rotationals. Ranked Tactical will be coming in as a rotational next week alongside those. So when you sign on to Halo Infinite next week, you will have not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 ranked playlists to play.
That's absolutely incredible. I could hear some whoops in the background, by the way, so I know there are some happy players in this building as well.
Yeah, one more thing. Just want to give a big shout out to the forgers that we've been working with for months. It's a tough process, but they've been super respectful, very responsive to feedback. Just want to give a shout out to Mick Rips, Ethan Hibbs, High on Mike, Karmaplex, Dark Maiming. They've done a fantastic job.
A beautiful job, and cannot wait to see that happening in the HCS competitively this year as well. Richie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of that amazing info with us. And I hope you guys, these ranked players, are very happy too with some permanent additions to your playlist too. Richie, I'm going to let you go. That's it. That's going to do it for us. We're going to head into pool play right now and see some of the updates coming on the board. And as you are probably well aware, we're heading back into a Quadrant and Optic Gaming matchup. Now, Wes, I didn't get to talk to you about this. I had Tony here and Lethal. That's okay. That's all right. Don't worry about it. But I was so impressed with what we saw. We talked about how Pool B was going to be so difficult, so dangerous. It was going to be one of the more difficult kind of situations for every single team in here. And Sentinels and Quadrant did not disappoint. It was a grueling battle. You could see both of them were really in it to win it. And Quadrant, they did not let their foot off the gas. I think going all the way to that Game 5, the way that they were able to kind of turn the tables on Argyle CTF against Sentinels had me shook. That has told me so much about this roster heading into the rest of the weekend. How impressed were you?
Very impressed, especially on that Argyle CTF. I think that was the most dominant Argyle CTF we have seen across Halo Infinite and in tournament play. Very rarely does that go to caps. Very rarely does it not go into an overtime when it's tied like 1-1 or even 0-0. So for Quadrant to have that much success shows you that their CTF game type is on point. Those Slayers were kind of the game modes that bit them the most throughout that series. That you can't afford to lose both Slayers in a series because you will always lose a series if you lose both. The math there is Game 5 is always Slayer, so you're losing the best of 5 every time, Tony. I saw the equations running through your head like Rain Man, so I had to help you out there. But that series and Sentinels versus Optic both went to Game 5, so both series so far throughout this pool of death have pushed both these teams to the limits. Let's see if Optic and Quadrant can also entertain the crowd and the fans out there with another Game 5. That would be something special.
That would be something special. That would honestly, I think, be one of our more competitive first days that we've had. I know we've had quite a competitive year too. I know last year was nuts, and Friday was always a bit crazy. I think I was like a broken record at certain points saying like, this is the craziest day we've had of
But it was.
But honestly, I feel like almost every single Friday of every single tournament we go to tops it.
I mean, we've had at least 4 Game 5s. ITB going to Game 5 with Native. ITB went to Game 5 earlier as well with Shopify. And then we've seen Optic and Sentinels go to Game 5. We've seen Quadrant and Sentinels go to Game 5. I mean, if this series goes to Game 5, this is actually the highest competitive Friday that we've ever had. And for pool play, something I'm usually not a big fan of because usually there are so many higher seeds playing lower seeds and some of the matches typically aren't competitive. It is such a pleasure to see all of these series, all of the packs. We talk about the different tiers. we can start erasing some of that conversation if these series continue to go the distances as they have today.
Indeed, and we're talking about this current matchup that we're seeing right now, which is going to be Optic versus Quadrant. And while I've got you, Clutch, I'm curious.
I'll be here.
You know, two different lineups, but a historic rivalry that we've actually started to have in Halo Infinite between Optic and Quadrant. Different lineups. Do we see a different outcome this time around? Because often it spelled a bit of misery for Optic. So do you see that actually being different?
I do, but Quadrant played so well against Sentinels that maybe there's a chance it continues to be that rivalry. But the loss of Legend, obviously still something Quadrant are going to have to get over, and they still are yet to create that big upset yet. So they haven't proven that they can push it the entire distance to create an upset of this magnitude as they have in the past with the likes of Legend. But they've showed very promising results, especially that Sentinel series, that gives fans and the viewers some hope that there is an opportunity for an upset. On the other side, though, this Optic roster also a different roster. The addition of Dead Zone, I think, is massive for Optic and what they're trying to accomplish this year. I think that they have looked nothing but amazing since the pickup of Dead Zone. I think that series earlier with Sentinels may have been a little rough start to their tournament. They still came out with a win. Sentinels is still a great squad, but I expect to see even better Optic as this tournament goes on.
Now, Tony, we discussed Optic a few times while we were talking about this entire tournament and the expectations that are on their shoulder, especially having a little bit of a rough ride in that month previous, you know, in between Arlington and now. You know, some of the qualifiers didn't go their way. They weren't even on the board for some of them, but it happens, right? It's online and things happen. They work through them. But Optic right now, what are your expectations about them coming into this series? As I finish my sentence, we're now red zoning once again. We got some more gameplay for you on the screens that are happening in the room next to us. Fellas, go enjoy.
A little bit of Space Station gaming, a little bit of Proton gaming. I promise you, I'm not mad at this, and it's a close one already. 88 to 84. Space Station Gaming had the opportunity to end it right here, right now, and with that squad wipe, we tuned in at the right time. It's SSG with the win.
Yeah, we get the results of this series on the fly. Space Station will win this series 3-1. Proton trying to get that game forward to a round 3, but couldn't get the job done there at the very end. And now we're focusing our eyes over towards the FaZe Cloud9 series, where Cloud9 actually took game 1, and it took Royal 2, dropping 21+ kills in game 2 for FaZe to tie this one up.
Yeah, we heard the people at home. They don't want to see no breaks. They want action on top of action on top of action. That's what we're going to give you. Tied 1 apiece right now in this series. FaZe up 1-0 as far as rounds, and Cloud9 with the play ball, and Snakebite with the kill.
And traditionally, if I was looking at this series from afar, you know FaZe and the slack that we give them for their oddball performances, and just about a must-win game right now, I'd say, for FaZe to get the ball rolling on the right direction. We saw how much trouble they had with Complexity going to game 5 earlier today. Right now, FaZe trying to figure out a way to gain control of this series as well. It looks like they were able to win round 1. They've got the lead here in round 2. Let's see how much better their oddball performances can be now that they've had some time to focus on it since Arlington.
FaZe may have the lead right now, but Cloud9 have just taken it. They have the setup over toward the seaside. You know the moment FaZe starts to put damage, starts to put pressure, that ball's going off the map and reset. There it is.
33-31, Cloud9 have a momentary lead right now in round 2. Wouldn't this be something special for them to take another lead, another game from FaZe, a team that we have not talked much about, but there's a lot of talent on this Cloud9 roster. Maybe a makeshift group of players that we know a lot about, but maybe don't know how well they're going to mesh together. It seems like they've gotten their tournament off to the right start right now. FaZe are going to have a setup here with 2 going down for Cloud9, the ball in the hands of Frosty. And FaZe look like they're going to try and rotate this to Elevator if Royal 2 can give them some help.
Yeah, the moment Spectre and Sav came over from that old Proton Gaming roster, Cloud9 even upset Optic in one of the online opens, and they've been good. And there's no wonder why they were able to tie up the series against FaZe. But right now, it's FaZe that have the lead and also have the ball. They have the setup, they have the slays. FaZe are looking very good in this round 2.
50-33 now. FaZe starting to take a little bit more of a commanding lead here in round 2. Royal 2 still owner of the pipes right now. Frosty's going to drop that ball for the shock rifle, I believe. It's going to go into Royal 2's hands. He gets flanked in the meantime, however. Frosty able to recapture control of the pipes area with that shock rifle, puts it to use onto Tusk, and right now Renegade feels the pressure coming from the rest of Cloud9. He's going to rotate that ball towards Elevator, but that rotation is also met with the flank from Cloud9. The setup is now broken.
As Cloud9 have the numbers, all they got to do is hold off FaZe. We're going to come in quick. It's Sad has the responsibility of holding down the A side. I do see 2 players of FaZe trying to push through tower. They better watch out. And Frosty's already found the headshot with the shots, making it 2 so far. And Renegade makes it 3 down, and that's a full wipe. FaZe right back, putting points on the board.
Frosty was the only player alive from FaZe after that initial setup got broken, but Frosty does enough to buy time. FaZe immediately break what would have been, should have been a Cloud9 setup, and now FaZe look like they're in control once again. Snakebite camo in hand. You know, he's making a decision here whether he wants the ball. I like the idea of him throwing it towards his teammate and putting this camo to use.
73-42 lead. Snakebite already deals with Septify. Don't tell me he gets 2. He does. Trades out his life in order to do so, but a big trade at that leads to another 3 down for Cloud9.
13-2-6. Snakebite starting to take over in the slays. He says, I'll do it myself with the amount of kills that he's got on the board right now. 73-42. Still 30 points separate these 2 teams. Cloud9 looking to push into Elevator. The ball is going to be in a very easy situation for them to transition this to a full setup of the Elevator right now. FaZe are going 2 down. Renegade going to try and find a timing top catwalk right now, but too many members of Cloud9 are able to focus on the Renegade, and that's going to stagger FaZe's opportunity for a push here now that Renegade gets taken down so late.
Yeah, it was a super confident push coming out of Renegades, a push by himself there, and it might have paid off, but the moment Cloud9 saw it, they really focused, fired him, and dealt with them so quickly. Now Cloud9 have a clean setup, and we could see yet another lead change here, maybe for the final time, as we see Renegade pushing over toward that top 8 catwalk once again. This time he will play his life, but this time Cloud9 still have the ball.
Cloud9 had the ball, and they have a man advantage momentarily. Tusk going to drop that ball, understanding that FaZe have got to be somewhere around him. Unfortunately, FaZe actually not able to push through the turbine right there. They were forced to back into white, and right now Frosty gets the first pick over towards the batteries, and that's going to open up the entire FaZe roster for the map for the FaZe roster. Let's see if this push is successful. It's all 4 down. And FaZe are able to pick up that ball instantly. Sab coming off respawn, able to make this setup a little bit weaker than what it would have been. Let's see if Cloud9 can break this setup, because both of these 2 teams are going to have one opportunity at a setup with how close the score is at the end.
With multiple going down for Cloud9, Tusk tries to make that flank play, and he tries to make something happen, but sadly it doesn't. And since then, FaZe have continued to have this ball, and now Frosty has a shock rifle and camouflage combination. It is deadly, and that's a remote detonation.
91-80, Cloud9 have the lead. It looks like FaZe we're going to have an opportunity at a setup, but I believe we have a little bit of something more important happening towards the main stage that we're going to have to refocus on.
We like to just keep things on a cliffhanger. You know what I'm saying here.
Keep a couple tabs
keep your tabs open. Yeah, exactly. That's what the tabs are for. Twitch drops are obviously available too, so make sure you're tuning in. We do have our main stage action ready to go. Really excited about this one. A rivalry, folks. And we're going to find out if the results are going to be the same. We've got Quadrant versus Optic. Let's see your teams.
Welcome back, London. Welcome back, Twitch. And I know you've had enough of me, but can I interest you in a little Dave Walsh for this Optic Quadrant series here happening on the main stage? Dave, you're a legend. Your name rings bells around these parts, I hear. And it's a pleasure to finally get an opportunity to cast a series with you. And what a banger we have. Optic versus Quadrant, a tale as old as time as far as Halo Infinite's concerned. But this time around, we have a bit of a twist, a couple team changes since the last time these two teams matched up. As we load into game one, Dave, what are your feelings going into this after just watching the Quadrant Sentinels series?
I mean, after watching Quadrant Sentinels and watching Optic versus Sentinels, I feel like we have a series on our hands. However, if you asked me going into this event how the series would go, Optic were looking so strong at Arlington. They only lost 8 maps the entire tournament, and 7 of those 8 maps were against Space Station.
We always find ourselves asking questions like, was it Optic playing bad or was Sentinels rising to the occasion? Well, everybody seems to be playing around the same level so far here today. Can Optic pick up their game, or is Quadrant going to meet the level that Optic's playing at? Right now, it's a one-on-one on the map. And that's a good start to showcase how far this series can go if we're even trading at the opening break. Lucid, bottom middle, still continuing to play his life, trying to pick up some early hill time, but it is Quadrant that's in the hill momentarily.
Yeah, when you're seeing everyone drop like that, you just know call-outs are going through the comms on each side. Everyone's aware of where they have backup across the map, and so damage isn't taken for free. It is punished by these top squads.
Absolutely. It looks like Quadrant are going to be rewarded with the early hill time. I believe it was them that also were rewarded with that first camouflage on the hands of SLG. However, kills continuing to be traded, just about a third of the bar in Quadrant's favor. It's still anybody's hill here for Hill 1.
Yeah, right now they're just kind of posturing for position, just seeing how much damage they can get across the map, see if they can get some slays out. They aren't going to overcommit to the hill right away, not until they at least have a couple members down. And now you might see Optic step their toes in a little bit. Now that they have 3 down and Snipe Drone is the only one left.
So far, it's such a fast-paced game between these two. You have to think that eventually one of these teams is going to get control. How long can they hold that setup? Optic with about half the hill already completed now that they have the slays in their favor. Dave, what are you seeing here?
What I saw right there, though, from Lucid was overall a great play. He went over towards glass, checked towards driveway, but once he realized he didn't see anybody, he instantly sprinted towards yard, towards gold ledge to see if he could be a factor in that fight. But ultimately, it was just too little too late. It felt like Lucid left his teammates out, not to dry, but almost a little too late on the flank, and that's the difficult part about being in a position like that.
Almost like he guessed wrong as far as where Quadrant were going to be.
Yes.
Because he guessed wrong, it's been given an opportunity to Quadrant now. They're over halfway. This hill, if it is any indication of how far this series is going to go, how competitive this series is going to go, we're in store for an absolute banger. Optic back in the hill, back with kills in their favor. Trippy trying to play his life bottom U-turn. Spots SLG. SLG guesses wrong, and you guess wrong against Trippy. You get taken down. He's able to get the first, but it's Quadrant that find the next 2 kills in the kill feed, and they are back in the hill as well.
Yeah, Quadrant not giving up just yet on this. Glory going to try basically the same flank last time when Lucid was in this position. Did not find anyone in yard right away. Let's see how Glory plays it. Plays it the exact same way that Lucid does. Doesn't see the players, pushes towards yard, and pushes towards gold. No, make that goes towards driveway. Jumps in the fight right away, but look at that damage coming out on both sides.
Look how close Quadrant were to the hill. Glory almost impacts that combat loop to award Quadrant the first hill, but Optic get the advantage in the slays. Optic get feet in the hill, but here comes Quadrant. SLG gets in the hill as well. Trippy trades at the kill from Dead Zone's death, and because of it, Optic narrowly score the first point.
First one on the board, but a minute 40 off the time. That is going to be huge, as this game likely isn't going to go to 4 captures, especially when you're seeing it go that far on the very first hill.
Yeah, when we were watching ITV earlier today, we saw that first hill get taken almost in perfect fashion, and there was 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock when it went to hill 2. A very different situation now that 3 minutes are on the clock. This hill, if Optic are able to achieve it, time may start to become a win condition in their favor as well.
Yeah, just watch the complete difference you'll see here on the yard hill. Last hill took about a minute and 40 off the game clock. This one, only 14 seconds have gone by, and Optic have it about halfway. Either way, as soon as one of these teams or players gets these kills, they're going to jump in the hill right away. Look at that from Quadrant. Still, no time ticking down.
Still a massive chunk for hill number 2 on the side of Optic Gaming. A great job by Trippy to stay alive with this thrust. A useful tool for a retake situation when given the opportunity. Trippy does get the first kill, unable to get the second onto SLG. He gets SLG to no shield, but no one on Optic in a position to trade that damage out. And now all of a sudden, Quadrant have tied the progression of this hill number 2 up.
Yeah, Formal gonna trade a little progression there for the camo. Let's see what he can do with this. Two of his teammates down, gets the equalizing kill right there. That's such a huge opening. What more can he push for here? Notices a player going into yard. Can he get the flank? But no, gets spotted out, hits by the nade.
Not a lot of time. Formal's got to make a play with this camo if they want to deny this game from being all tied up. Here comes Optic once again. Dead zone, Formal, both find kills. It's a 3-on-2, and Optic have taken over yard and will take control of this game here with a second point if Quadrant aren't able to get back into yard. Trippy finds a double, and that guarantees the point for Optic.
And they aren't even afraid just to double up inside the hill there. Optic, like you said, taking that second point. But as it was getting down to the wire, they felt that anyone that could see someone on the hill, they could just turn and double team. Don't need to push somebody over towards Flowers or push someone over towards Gold Ledge. Just turn and fight anyone who desperates towards the hill.
A great patient play from Optic rewards him with the second hill. That camo from Formal, he took his time, he got his kills, he made sure that he was there on time as well. So Formal playing absolutely flawless, doing Formal things now, continuing to stay alive as the rotation towards the third point. Optic are able to kick open the door from a Quadrant setup once again. They take 2 down, and Formal and the boys are in hill number 3 as well.
Yeah, just doing everything right here, trying to lay down these shots over towards Gold. But now meeting resistance from every direction. Great thrust by Formal, gets through, but meets a second player over at Blue and Market.
So a phenomenal retake coming right off respawn from Quadrant. They're going to be able to jump right back into that hill. 2 minutes and 26 seconds on the clock, and I love the advancement.
I love that play by SLG. Not letting a single person get even in towards yard, so they don't have to worry about that gold angle. He's cleaning up shots from players who are weak at driveway and over at the loop. The only downside of this is where are the spawns going to happen for those players on Optic?
Yeah, it looks like Lucid was able to get camo while all of this was happening, but they are spawning so far away from this hill that the point is perfectly captured by Quadrant after the retake. That is the win that you get from creating so much space when applying that pressure and denying yard position.
Yeah, after that bottom mill hill, this game has picked up in pace, Wes. You've noticed that 2 other hills have been captured, 1 apiece for Optic and Quadrant within 1 minute compared to the minute and 40 it took for the very first hill.
When Optic played FaZe last tournament on Solitude King, the game ended at 2-1 because of time. A much different situation here between Quadrant and Optic, neck and neck still. Optic were favorable to get the first opportunity at a setup on this 4th point. They've gotten about a third of the way done. Can they get the kills that can continue some of this progression? 3 go down for Quadrant, and they will once again have to come off respawn and try and break the setup, or they will go down 2 points once again.
And also Trippy, you could tell, did not know where the players were just yet. He was first worried about loot. Now realizes that they've spotted Gloria out over towards the snipe side, so he is not worried. But now players can spawn out a little bit further. They've maybe pushed out near posters. He's going to be worried about both sides.
Quadrant are going to give up this point to Optic. They do not have an opportunity to retake this hill. And with that, Optic will once again jump up by 2 points with the hill moving towards snipe. It is a must-win hill for Quadrant. Optic are on hill point.
Yeah, Quadrant keeping control there. And actually, I couldn't tell if Trippy's goal was to get the last bit of hill and then sprint away, or wait till his team was in a better position. Because with Quadrant giving up that hill, there was no need to speed up and finish that one up. Optic were going to finish that at some point. Now it's just a question of how much control they have across the map, and do they want to give up the first quarter or half of the hill to Quadrant?
Yeah, that's like a game of chess. Can you make the clock even further in your advantage? Because right now, Dave, look, since the hill has moved, it has almost been a perfect setup for Quadrant. 2 minutes still on the clock, and we're almost seeing the 5th point of the game captured.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what the hesitation we saw from Trippy was earlier. He was just kind of playing, do we grab this hill? And a lot of times, when in doubt, you just got to take the objective if you're not certain. However, there is that riskier, however, higher reward play. You can sometimes wait that out, but now we are seeing this 2-3 game, and clutch, last time this took 1:40. Are we going to see it take this long this time for this final hill?
It looks like Snipe Drone is in a perfect position to answer with a no. So a double kill with perfect shots and perfect use of the camo. The transition from the 5th point to the 6th point of this match has been flawless for Quadrant. Already gaining some progression there. Time not necessarily a factor, shouldn't become a factor, but as I say that, a couple of members from Quadrant drop, and with that, Optic gain a little bit of map control, and Shock Rifle in the hands of Formal can be a dangerous thing to see see, but Quadrant remove it immediately.
And also not just map control, you see Optic there not committing to just lane. You saw Dead Zone grabbing the first 10% of the hill for Optic, but not looking good when kills are going that quick for Quadrant.
2 still down for Optic, however. Quadrant still have numbers. Make it 3 down. They are back in the hill as well. They can tie this game up still. Time not going to be a factor here in game 1 of the series. A double for Quadrant once again will allow them more progression. Can they finalize this last moments in this hill to tie this up, as it will move to yard for the 7th and final point?
Oh my gosh. Quadrant had the momentum without a doubt going to this final hill. Are Optic going to ice it up? And can they get the kills needed to get this yard hill?
Optic once again with the perfect rotation into yard. They are set up to gain early progression on this 7th point. Quadrant have done so much to come back from down 2 points, but they need to find a way to break this setup.
It's going to be tough, especially this first half going towards Optic. Lucid not taking any chances, takes it in his own hands, gets a perfect right there, and keep control of the yard. Pressure on Snipe Drone. He's in a 1v2. He's going to try to charge the fight. Nowhere to go. You either run to Lucid.
And that's a problem, because Snipe Drone's going to be a staggered respawner right now for Quadrant. They're even able to take down Glory, and it's a perfect 7th hill for Optic. As much as Quadrant tried to come back, Optic saw an opportunity to have the first setup, and they never lost it in that 7th point.
And you just saw that back and forth as both these teams got control. You saw what they were able to do with it. It felt like neither of the teams were that strong on the back foot. As soon as Quadrant had the setup on the hill and they were over towards Snipe, they took that near flawlessly. You saw that last one in the yard. Optic all the way.
For as scrappy as that first hill was, for both teams to find their footing and hold perfect hills across the way, Dave, what are you seeing as far as like maybe early series jitters, and then each team, when they had control, dominated that section or that hill?
You can maybe attest to some early series jitters. The other part that would really be a main factor in that is a map like Solitude. Once you get numbers, it's easy to snowball those numbers, especially in the center of the map. Someone's weak near bottom center, and you have people up high and have those angles, you're going to get those finishes. Or the reverse of that is true, is you're not going to get away when you're weak. You saw a lot of these times, players were basically forced to challenge a fight to the death and hopefully win that or trade that out.
Yeah, the specific situation that points out to me was when we watched SLG push all the way through yard towards driveway when the hill was over towards dip. It's like, how much space do you want, kid? It's not about space. It's about continuously keeping it at a 4-on-3 or a 3-on-2. Numbers advantage at all times. And when you have numbers advantage, especially on Solitude, it is so difficult to try and overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, those advantages like you're talking about, they're pushing out. Either they catch somebody off guard, they just the first shot or two.
It catch me off guard. I'm like, what is this guy doing in yard? The hill's over there.
And then also, if they don't clear that area out in the beginning, they have a built-in flank. They have somebody over at gold, raining down shots over towards posters or anything like that. So it's just this kind of win-win scenario. He runs any single way he plays that, it's going to be advantageous unless he somehow gets picked.
All right, so we're moving our focus over to game 2. It's a Slayer, and we saw an opportunity to see a graphic there where Formal and Lucid are apparently dominating in the Slayers so far here in London. It's been maybe a short sample size, but if you're Quadrant, Dave, coming on the back of a Game 5 loss, you lost both Slayers to Sentinels in a best-of-5. Traditionally, we always say the better team wins the objectives. Well, Quadrant had some dominant objectives throughout that series that allowed them to get it to a Game 5, but Sentinels look so strong. How strong Optic is in these Slayers, what do Quadrant need to do in order to improve their Slayers? And they have to do it quick, Dave, so let's hear it.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how they step this up. I mean, obviously, we can talk about controlling the power weapons and power-ups and how are they controlling the map.
Are you making fun of me right now?
Not making fun of you, but I was going to say with the squad, it's really tough to pinpoint in one exact area that we need to see them step it up. I didn't feel like we saw much panic out of Quadrant there, which is usually where you see the lower level teams really lose out on the objectives because they're chasing after a flag they have no business stopping.
Right.
They're letting the other team get that first hill and then get the kills to lead into the second hill. But I didn't see any of that really from Quadrant from last game. I didn't feel like they had the objective pressure really working that hardly against them.
couldn't agree more. And right now, as game 2 is underway, 5-5, so no differential really made here. Trippy does have the shock rifle in hand, and you know what damage he can do if he's given an opportunity, but he can't hit the shot that's right in front of him. Snipe Drone able to remove that shock rifle. Formal goes down as well. Quadrant, with a very successful push into blue, will gain map control and tie this game up 8-8.
And looking at the Killjoy medal I just saw from Lucid there, SLG, you're going to need to slow him down if you want to make sure you're going up 2-0 here from the Optic side. Just absolutely on fire. If I remember correctly, when I was watching SLG versus Sentinels, he won a fight he had no business winning. I also saw another similar. Oh my God.
Speaking of getting kills that you had no business getting, somehow SLG, no shield, no problem. His aggression paying off for Quadrant here early on. 8-1-2 and a triple kill medal to pair with it. Glory now in a massive one-on-one. You don't want to find yourself in one-on-ones with Formal, however. Formal wins that one, and because he wins that one, he's able to transition on to a kill on Snipe Drone and to another kill. So that one-on-one, how impactful that was because of Formal's impact on the next combat loop was massive.
Yeah, that's the biggest part about this game is as you win that 1-1, are you getting some extra shots after? Are you getting a melee in? And those are those advantages that kind of snowball all the way through.
Because now it's turned into a camo control, right? You got map control. What did that transition to? Camo. Now the snowball continuing to go down the hill. What can Trippy give us with this camo?
I feel like he's going to get active. Ends up finding one fight over an elevator. Takes some damage. But the more focus on Trippy means less focus on other members of Optic. Are they pushing across the map and getting more ground? Looks like the camo's out, so not as much as you'd like to see from that camo. In fact, Optic are now behind by 1 kill.
Not as much, but they didn't find themselves in a terrible position either. They gained some map control and relieved a little bit of the pressure because Quadrant a little bit slower to, or more reluctant, I should say, to push because they know Trippy is somewhere with that camo. Camo has run out. Quadrant still do have a lead. It's 20-19 as this game slows down into a snail's pace, and information is the name of the game here.
Yeah, just finding where teams, players are at. If they see a mismatch at some spot on the map, they're just going to press that. Looks like the spot is C-flat, first pick by Formal. Do they continue to push over towards Hydro? They know at least one more member's over there.
A bit of an overextension from Glory is going to open up blue for the likes of Optic Gaming. Looking to push now into white, starting to rotate together. Look how in sync Optic appear to be right now.
Yeah, Optic all on the same page, pushing towards C and Hydro, but there are the reinforcements. Snipe Drone takes out Lucid, takes out Formal, and we still got a 1-kill lead here for Quadrant.
Snipe Drone does get traded out eventually in the back of blue, and Trippy's found himself another shock rifle. In the meantime, though, SLG is 11-3-3. For this game to be in Optic's favor with those stats, have to worry you as a Quadrant fan, Dave. 11-3-4 now. If SLG slows down at all, you have to think Optic are going to continue to build what is now a 3-kill lead.
Yeah, the reason why you want to see your team just dominating in a moment like that is because you can't expect someone like SLG or any of these superstars to have those sprees consistently. And so when you get those sprees, you want those to turn into leads rather than staying tied or behind against your opposing.
Yeah, are they making an actual difference in the score or what is going on in the game that is not allowing it to? Right now, Optic do find themselves under a lot of pressure. A couple players down and being stuck top white, not a place Lucid wants to be, but a shock rifle in hand can change everything. He is able to trade with Snipe Drone there. He's able to relieve that pressure. It's going to stop the push, but those plasma nades can be oh so tricky and Formal. I feel your pain there. That happens to me all the time. A beautiful job by Quadrant to bait those plasma nades and take down Formal to once again extend the lead now in their favor, 33-30.
Also just one step ahead there.
Ooh.
You saw Formal was actually trying to slide into those plasmas just to scoop those up before going over towards Mangler Pit.
As this game continues to go on, SLG continuing to keep up the pace though, 13-4-5, and he is chowing anything and everything. When you're on fire in a match like this, Dave, and your stats are 13-4-5, Dave, I know you've been there a ton. Are you trying to just get into any combat loop because you feel like you're in a flow state right now? And
you just got to be active. Yes, 100%. You're not trying to be the person that's sitting back. You're saying, get me into any fight.
This is my
Put me in, coach.
Yeah,
Let me, you know, I will go win that 1v1, and now I'll get a shot or two.
Would you guys just relax for a second? I'm dominating. I think Demon D used to tell me.
Just let me fight. Just let me fight. And, you know, some people are like, it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. Or, you know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Either way it goes. Those expert runners are better than you. Yeah. Those marathon runners can run faster than they can the whole time. So what are we talking about here?
Absolutely. the chaos ensuing over towards Elevators, going to give Quadrant now a 2-kill lead. We're crossing the 40-kill mark. This is where things get interesting, especially when their two are separated by just 2 kills. The push out of pipes is the bravest thing I've seen today. Dead Zone opens the door for some space for Optic Gaming. Lucid gets a double himself. All 4 down for Quadrant, and Optic take a 1-kill lead.
And do they have them all trapped on one spot? No. Somebody over at Pipes, SLG at Pipes, split spawns over at Elevator, and that is huge for Quadrant because they got all stuck in one location. That could spell bad news, but SLG, the hero of this game thus far, let's see what fight he takes.
Wow.
Goes against 2022 MVP Lucid and does some damage that can't be returned.
And Lucid's 16, 5, and 11 himself, so he's trying to keep up with SLG, but doing that right now seems like an impossible task. A 3-kill lead, 46-43 for Quadrant.
Just do not go away from this POV because you know this player wants the game in their hands, trying to find where anyone is at. Like we said, when you're in these stalemates, it's where the mismatch is at. What information are you gathering? Sometimes even no information is good information, saying we don't see somebody over at, you know, Needler or Pipes or wherever. But right now, both teams just trying to peek out, get a little bit, and then they're going to commit as soon as they feel they have a number advantage or a damage advantage.
Optic are traditionally so good in these moments when the game slows down and they get the information. They traditionally make the right play every single time, it seems. What are Quadrant thinking? Do you try to force a play with this 3-kill lead and just trade it out towards the 50 mark, or are you going to make a mistake that you regret for the rest of your tournament?
Well, I think you have to assess, are you winning in this trading of time? Is your team going to have the advantage again, the camo or the power-up? And Lucid knows where 2 people are at long haul, says, challenge me, bro. I will go for this trade right here. You come up, we're both dead.
Yeah, Lucid so confident in this position. Doesn't hit the plastic pistol shot. Gets knocked down to no shield. Pays for it with his life. A kill is traded out, but camo now in the hands of Quadrant as you're seeing that player jump up Turbine. It does get traded out. Optic Formal rips the camo player's head off with shock. This is the big one, and SLG gives you the big one the Quadrant need to make it 49-47.
49-47, Formal has a shock rifle, but they are scared of trading out anything. As soon as one person is too close from Optic, expect the charge to happen. Formal trying to get any sort of pick, needs to make them fully punished before they make any charge across the map.
Quadrant are not in a position they want to be in right now, all stuck in pipes, and Formal changing positions with the shock rifle is going to catch someone off guard. Snipe Drone doesn't take the first, but the second one is true from Formal. 49-49, they find 2. Last 2 players are alive. And SLG gets the 50th kill and ends the game for Quadrant's favor, tying the series up 1-1.
Thank you, SLG, for that game. Obviously, it's a team effort, but from what I saw from SLG, he was doing some individual work right there.
The fact that he's the man to end the game as well is massive for this team, for their confidence coming in. You're lost to Sentinels. You're trying to gain some momentum in a must-win series if you want to go into the winner's bracket. Optic Gaming takes game 1 in a very lengthy King of the Hill. You're thinking Quadrant, are they going to run out of gas? Is all the momentum that they tried to muster up during the break just all for naught? But what a response out of this team to tie this series up going into game 3, and what a response from SLG.
Yeah, and you're right too. You're like, all right, is SLG gonna slow down? You know, he went 8-3 or so at the beginning, and nope, kept that pace up the entire game, kept that KD up the entire game, and with it, keeps their team in this series. Optic is a squad that you do not want to go down 0-2 against.
Now as we shift our focus to game 3, Empyrean CTF is gonna be the name of the game here. Taking a look at the highlights from game 2, but Empyrean CTF, traditionally such a strong game type for the likes of Lucid, Formal, and Optic Gaming. But how dominant of an Argyle CTF we saw Quadrant play against Sentinels has got to give you a little bit of hope for the Quadrant fans out there, for the hometown team, that their CTF game has looked very strong, at least the little we've seen so far here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Argyle, like you said, it's not the exact same as Empyrean. Both these teams were looking pretty good at this when you look at their past stats from Arlington. It was Quadrant being 1-0 on CTF Empyrean, and Optic were 2-0 on this mode from last round.
Okay. You know Optic's good at this map, especially with the history that those guys have in their careers. Trippy, Dead Zone, Formal, how many hours of Halo 3 they played, and Luce is good at everything he does. I mean, he's a basic male model up there, dominating the competition, an MVP, a world champion. I'll stop with the accolades. I could go on, though. But, you know, if you're Quadrant, and what you saw from Argyle, I think it transitions to Empyrean.
I think so too. I think there's a lot of transferable skills.
The double snipes, yeah, what it takes to get a flag on the move and how to properly deny respawners from being able to take down the flag carrier. These routes, if Glory can do what he was able to do on Argyle with the snipe here on Empyrean, Optic might have a headache after this one. We're having Quadrant try to gain the lead in this series, something I didn't know we'd be trying to say here. As this one's kicked off, the series all tied up, and Optic Gaming looking for a response after a Game 2 loss.
Oh my gosh, does not get the back smack onto Dead Zone, and gets the trade out in the end, but that's such a roller coaster of events. You expect to get a kill on the Rockets and have a Rocket player, but that flag is already moving? Are you kidding me?
Flag is on the move, but that repulse pushes the flag so far back right there. It's going to make it more difficult for Optic to get a touch and keep it contested. Right now, Snipe Drone coming off respawn, able to hop on that return. It was Snipe Drone that repulsed the flag carrier back towards his side of the map, because if that doesn't happen and the flag's under bridge, it's a lot easier for Optic to try and get a touch and compete for, as opposed to the street right in front of the enemy snipe.
Much easier to guard, like you said, and yes, that is uncommon. I can't recall the last time we really seen flag carrier get repulsed to a more disadvantageous position.
Heads up play by Snipe Drone to keep this game all tied up at 0-0. It was an early attempt at a flag run, failed by Optic Gaming, shut down, I should say, by Quadrant. The battle for map control is the name of the game here, and SLG with snipe in hand. Let's see what he can give us as he gets his shield back on mid-bridge.
All right, SLG, 5 bullets. How many kills are you going to see out of you? Pressure coming over from top turret, coming over from sword. He knows Trippy's going to challenge that.
Oh, yeah.
And he accepts the challenge gladly. 1-0 in favor of SLG right there between that little rivalry.
SLG looking for one, spawning towards the courtyard, does take a couple bullets of damage. Wants to get his shield back. His teammates are pulling the flag. SLG finds a pick. SLG finds a body shot. SLG gets a nade onto Formal as well. A lot of damage that may be able to get capitalized on from the rest of Quadrant, but where are they? Seeka's coming through green. 2 players in the training. Seeka finds them both, but that flag carrier did get shut down by Optic. Nobody on Quadrant in a position to run that flag, it appears, and it will be a battle for map control that we're seeing instead of a potential flag run from Quadrant.
Yeah, I mean those kills were answered quite quickly by Dead Zone in that last exchange. Is all that damage that's done by SLG kind of got canceled out by an incredible play by Dead Zone.
Yeah, if you're not able to kill that flag carrier and he's able to stay alive somewhere in the Neeler or the Mauler, that flag would still be on the move and probably put in for Quadrant. Game's still all tied up, 0-0. 9 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, which means Overshield and Rockets will be coming up here momentarily. Overshield is up, Seeka's on top of it. Trippy late to the party, can't find the backsmack, but a couple of melees will deny that Overshield from being too impactful, and in the meantime, Lucid's found the Rockets.
Yeah, and I think those choices, I think Rockets, if you get them back safely, is the better one to have. But then again, it's tough to get those into an effective position. Sometimes just being stuck over at green doesn't do much if you're just going to get shot over from snipe or sword side.
Yeah, the big power curve swings from those power weapons, both negated. Very well done by both teams to deny any real success. Right now, though, it looks like the flag is being pulled by Optic Gaming. Formal has found himself a snipe, and with the flag on the move into the courtyard, both snipes are controlled by Optic. Let's see if they can hit a couple shots and continue this flag run.
Also, second time we're seeing Optic run this flag over towards snipe/sword side. Historically, we've generally seen it going through hallway.
Something more recent, I would say, we're starting to see teams adapt towards this push. And why? We'll have to ask one of the pros later on today, because they're the only ones that really see the difference in dynamics. But we did see ITV have so much success earlier today with the camo and green flag runs as opposed to the snipe flag runs. Is that going to be something Optic regret if they're not able to have success here? Because once again, a European team in Quadrant having success shutting down these courtyard flag runs so far.
You know what? I like to see the evolution of how these teams are playing the maps and what differences in situations that they see, because my guess is it's just going to be all based on positioning. if Optic happened to have someone over towards top turret or bridge with snipe, they're like, you know what, it's fine, just run through cuts. You just have that one moment of vulnerability going through to bottom bridge or towards the runway, compared to the moment of vulnerability as you're running it from Needler pit over to Needler, over towards long haul.
It's also different with stylistics as far as like how the Europeans are playing Empyrean CTF to how the Americans are. So maybe what Optic does works traditionally online, and they're scrims against some of the best in the world, but Quadrant obviously having an answer so far for anything that Optic has thrown at them throughout this game. Still 7.5 minutes on the clock, no caps rewarded for either team, no real significant opportunities, I would say, either. But here comes Optic Gaming. Deadzone gets the first kill in green. Deadzone's going to also find the second kill, and he's going to get a nade onto the third player that just spawned Mauler. This could be bad news bears for Quadrant. A beautiful trade to take down Deadzone, but the rest of Optic Gaming are surely short behind.
Deadzone creating so much space. That's the thing you're not seeing on the stat screen. Yes, Deadzone has the most kills for Optic, but on top of that, creating the most space for Optic. Those rockets were nearly a free grab for Formal compared to all the space that Deadzone created.
Yeah, if you're Deadzone, you did your job in that situation. Formal needs to pick up a couple of kills and open the door for Optic to get some map control here. Glory spotted out in the courtyard. Formal still with one rocket in his back pocket. Nobody from Quadrant looking to be on Formal's side of the map, knowing that he still has this rocket. Snipe drone is going to be camo side of the map, and Formal does choose to push the green. The last rocket going to be shot onto Glory, but it's wasted as nobody from Optic able to take down Glory so far. It actually is Trippy flying through green that does finish the kill eventually. Both flags are being pulled right now. Both teams coming off respawn, and this is a very interesting decision for Trippy to try and see what he can do. A beautiful kill from Sika is going to open this opportunity up for Quadrant to get a flag pull. Multiple members of Optic are going to be here to try and hop this return, and let's see if Sika can get the kill about a potential touch. The answer is no on the touch. It's going to be a reset, but Snipe Drone will be in Optic space to get another pull.
Yeah, Snipe Drone behind enemy lines, going to get this next pull, and how fast does he take it? Decides to run over towards Needle Pit, gets on in towards Needle, and this one's going through long hole. I don't know if Optic are going to be able to stop this. I don't know what control they have over on bridge and training.
There's two down for Quadrant. One does come off respawn, but here comes Optic Gaming across the bridge. It appears they have a snipe as well, and Trippy is here to stop the cap. Sika takes down Trippy, though. The flag not being returned just yet. Lucid said sit down. Nobody on Quadrant spawning near that flag. The return comes through, and it's the Trippy Lucid duo that shut it down themselves.
And what looked like it was about to be a cap there for Quadrant is now turning quickly into a counter cap. Deadzone moving that across the map. Glory, the last one alive, is going to just have to settle for a trade. And it's a Trippy, and that's going to be first cap going on for Optic.
It's a counter cap for Optic, and it's through the camo hall where we traditionally see the success. The first time Optic run it that way, they have that success. They're able to punch that one in off the back of a beautiful play by Trippy and Lucid. Still with snipe in hand, Snipe Drone able to trade that kill out. So you get the snipe out of Lucid's hands, but at what cost? A 1-0 lead with less than 5 minutes on the clock for Optic Gaming.
And here comes the grab. Do they know snipers and sword? They do. Takes a route all the way through Needler, but decides to back down. Now Trippy wisely focuses elsewhere across the map. When you have those power weapons, you're going to be the #1 subject and target across the map. So you want to reposition, you want to refocus, see if you can catch someone else off guard.
What a heads-up play by Trippy to drop under bridge, finish that player that was no shield, trying to activate that overshield. The overshield gets thrown off the map. In the meantime, Deadzone was able to get the rocket, so the entire power curve going towards Optic Gaming now. Trippy still with snipe in hand and looking to be aggressive through green hole.
Try and just get that last poke shot, but not afforded that luxury. These players are hitting every single shot, keeping them out of scope and not making it easy to get any picks.
Nothing flashy done by Trippy, but the job is getting done. He gets finally taken down as the snipe ammo gets wasted. Deadzone and Formal will still be here to control the Optics training side of the map. SLG trying to push through camo, needs to wait and try and buy time for his team, but there will be no help from his team. They get taken down, and Optic continued to push through green and camo this time around to find success. 3 go down, Sika's the last player alive, all 4 down, and now here come Optic Gaming.
Moving just so fast over in those areas, hitting every curb slide again, and just always at that front line you see them down.
Oh, Trippy takes down Glory, starting to run the flag, and surely Optic Gaming, the rest of them, can anchor The setup here for Trippy to get this flag all the way through camo to take a 2-0 lead here with just 3 minutes left.
And just moving too quick across. They're also going to come back to a nice sniper that's just spawning, and they can take this as fast or as slow as they would like.
Trippy, 26-5-14, the difference maker here in game 3. The lifeline for Optic when they need him to make a play. Trippy has made a play in this game 3, and because of it, they have a very comfortable lead here in time all of a sudden, becoming a major factor in Quadrant's opportunity to keep this series tied.
Now let's see what happens. We've had Dead Zone with the sniper here back to the base. Unfortunately, ineffective with there in that situation. But I want to see who else from Optic is stepping up to create that extra space. We saw Trippy being super aggressive, going for lots of grabs, pushing out really quick, but also had Dead Zone leading a lot of those charges.
Yeah, it's the aggression duo of Trippy and Dead Zone so far that have created those opportunities. Formal and Lucid sitting back towards the training and sword side of majority of this map. But Optic Gaming's control of the power weapons have been a real story to tell. As I say that, we're on board with Trippy. He's found himself the rockets, and he's looking to push that 27 kills towards 30.
Yeah, and I think the best defense is a good offense. Just take a little bit more space, and then you can go back and clear out your base if needed. But one thing we've seen from less experienced teams is sometimes they'll turtle up once they get that lead, and you start to see that their game plan falls apart as they don't have that aggressiveness, as they don't have that option in their playbook.
You don't think you'll see that out of Optic Gaming today? The veterans themselves, the world champions themselves, and Trippy continuing to bulldoze his way wherever he pleases right now. 3 down for Quadrant, another flag being pulled, and Optic are trying to end this due to caps and not time.
And look at that same duo once again, Dead Zone and Trippy all the way over at the Quadrant base, which they were not expecting. They were expecting, sure, they could push through on bridge or push through a little bit. They weren't expecting another flag grab at this point. They were going for a long flank through runway.
If the situation was different, Trippy might have felt more of a need to desperate for that flag. But with a minute on the clock, they let that flag get returned. They reset. They make sure that they don't go 2-3 down in a situation that could get Quadrant any sort of life. And with that veteran play, Trippy and the boys on Optic Gaming look to close this one out with 40 seconds remaining. Quadrant have got to get a pull now.
Yeah, that's such a good highlight there, Wes. Knowing when to give up a cap and just go for slays. That separates the best from the best. They just are going for every little advantage. They're not going to create those windows where you're going to get counter-capped on, or we're going to set the other team up to have their miraculous run.
Conversation versus risk versus reward, right? And what the state of the game is, what you need right now. If you need a cap, it's a little bit different of a situation, but you don't need a cap with 10 seconds on the clock. Optic, all they need to do is stand still at this point, because there's no way Quadrant are going to be able to take game 3. Optic have done the job. It was a grind, it was a battle, but game 3 will go in their favor, and they now take the series lead once again, 2-1.
A slugfest there between these two squads, but Optic landing more blows. Kills going in favor of Optic, 90 kills to 69 kills there from Quadrant. So just kind of outslaying, outpacing, and also just more touches. They were so many times across over on the Quadrant half of the map, pulling that flag immediately.
Early on in this game 3, as we're taking a look at the highlights, Quadrant felt like they were going blow for blow with Optic. They were shutting down what Optic wanted to do. But there was just lapses and moments throughout this game as it transpired on the focus of the power weapons and the power-ups. The trumpets in the backgrounds trying to fire Quadrant up have got to be hilarious. But, I mean, the rocket control and the overshields, as soon as those were coming up every time, it felt like Optic started to get the better of Quadrant. Quadrant not able to really set up for those power-ups and power weapons as they need to. And when you give a player like Trippy rockets and overshield to play with, he's going to have a big stack game, and Trippy does what he does, a big stack game with those power weapons.
Yeah, just going absolutely off with those weapons. And also, like you said, anytime they had those kills or advantages, they were just flying towards the flag.
And notice how immediately, as they started to transition their focus from the overshield and bridge side towards the green and camo side, they started to have so much success, right? It felt like Quadrant didn't have an answer for the amount of pressure that Trippy and Dead Zone were both putting into their Neeler, into their Mauler, and the havoc that they were creating. It really was that spark of a counter cap where you thought Quadrant were going to take the lead, where that game completely shifted in momentum, however. The snipes from Lucid, the one kill onto the flag carrier from Trippy, and then the double from Lucid was the spark that ignited the flame that became Optic Gaming in the second half of that game 3.
Yeah, they just absolutely took control, like you said. All those counter cap opportunities, they took advantage when they had that window open. But now we're looking into game 4 here. Live fire, oddball. Look at both their HCS Arlington stats. Both of them 1-0 in this game mode at last.
Undefeated.
Undefeated.
Can't lose it.
What happens when an unstoppable object meets a, immovable, or unstoppable force meets an immovable object? We'll find out with these two 1-0 teams.
Yeah, I don't have the answer, but what I can tell you, Dave, is as that game 3 continued to go on, Optic started to really feel like they had no chance of losing it. The control was always in their favor, even at times where they lose a guy, or they may have one guy overextend and he's the first one to go down. Optic were still in a position where they could manifest control of the map and not give up too much. On a game type like Oddball, I feel like that is such an important quality to have. Let's see if Optic can continue that, or can Quadrant find an answer or replicate that same level as the battle comes underway. SLG is going to open it up with the first pick, and that's a good start for Quadrant fans here. Camo's coming up momentarily, so these kills and the control of the early oddball time is usually a strong indicative of what's going to happen here early in this game 4.
Yeah, and Lucid trying to hit those shots onto Glory or Snipe Drone, but teammate in the way, so trading out a little damage there. But this ball is not in a safe spot. These teams are just going to be vying for a garage control. You see them instantly going over towards the garage window because they realize they control that. They control the garage. They control the ball.
Yeah, Optic aren't able to get that ball into a real secure position, and as they go all 4 down, that camo pops up. The ball is going to be picked up by Quadrant, and with Snipe Drone and camo in hand, the ball setup is going to be a perfect house setup for the side of Quadrant. House, I don't know how Snipe Drone's getting shot right now, but somebody has some eagle eyes over on Optic Gaming. They're able to knock him down to no shield, trade the camo player out, and that is a massive kill on the side of Optic Gaming.
I would say massive kill for Optic Gaming, but also just a bit of a miss from Quadrant. You have all 4 down. If there's one person shooting your camo player, you should be able to be in a little bit better of a spot to punish that, or at least cut off somebody from just charging right into garage.
Yeah, Optic's so quick to break what was a very strong setup for Quadrant. That could be a big problem as this game 4 transpires right now. 27-10, Optic taking the lead, and Lucid doing things that should not be done. The double kill as he repulses top mid was awesome. The ball gets rotated towards green as well, so Optic not only going to gain a significant lead here, but should be in a good position to play once their setup is finally broken.
Look at this, Trippy just buying some time there, trying to halt these members from top center so that they know Nest is clear, but it's been broken. Here comes the charge. You know they're coming from garage, you know they're coming from Nest.
But Deadzen's going to be able to drop that ball. He's going to be able to play that ball. It's perfect shots from Sika that will force the play ball. Formo's still going to be over here. Narrowly takes down Sika. It is a double kill for Sika, but look, the ball already gets reset, and Trippy already has it in his hands, and he's taking it away.
One thing about Optic, at least in past seasons, I always felt that they were the best ball rotation team in the league. I'm not sure if that's still true here in 2024.
I think it is. Rewatching Arlington, that was something that I thought was unbelievable that they were able to do so consistently. Their reads of where to take the ball and when to grab it and put it in a position where respawners can compete for it, you're already seeing that pay dividends here once again in London.
Yeah, that last one was wild because we saw 3 dead, Trippy the last one alive, and he runs over towards the spawning teammates, and all of a sudden, Optic are contesting this ball in a situation where they were 3 down.
Right. What you thought was going to be a window for Quadrant to maybe try and get the ball in their hands, get it to a place where they're set up. Optic denied that because the last player alive is making such an impactful play. It's 57-10 now. Quadrant find themselves down 47. Snipe in the hands of SLG could change everything, however. It's a double for SLG. The ball gets neutralized for a moment, and this should be the first real Quadrant setup we've seen since that camo play.
Yeah, first Quadrant setup, you have SLG with Snipe, and he's not missing. One thing you also brought up, Wes, was you said, all right, when you're on fire, what are you doing with your team? What are you having them play a little different? When it comes to OBJ, you need to have your teammates just grab that. It doesn't matter if you have Snipe or not. You say, take this ball, I'm destroying right now, let me go do some work.
There's something about having a teammate that is so objective eccentric that he is always near the ball, no matter what the play is. Trippy seems to be that player here for Optic Gaming, as Dead Zone as well, a duo continuing to impact these objectives. Dead Zone with 53 seconds, Trippy with the other 4, you got Lucid with 1, but a 58-24 lead right now for Optic Gaming. Quadrant, maybe not getting outslayed necessarily, but the objective efficiency continuing to be in Optic's favor as Trippy, once again, last guy alive, runs away with the ball.
Yeah, and that's so frustrating. You feel like you come out ahead in those slays or engagements, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, when did they get out there? What's going on here? And then that's where frustration seeps in. You start to charge across the map, maybe not taking the exact route you should take. You get punished for that, and you're back in respawn.
Yeah, you feel like you're almost getting robbed of the good plays that you feel like you're making. Unfortunately, the best plays to have the off ball in hand, and right now, Quadrant need to find a way to do so. 69-24, Dead Zone, ball in hand. There is a player towards Camo in Seiko, but he's got to wait for his teammates to respawn if he has any chance to try and break another Optic Gaming setup.
Let's see what Dead Zone decides to do with this ball. Trippy ends up getting taken out. He doesn't have a teammate right with him, but looks like the fight for Camo is the play. Actually scrapping him the last couple seconds. Eventually gets taken out by Glory. Now ball in the hands of Quadrant. Do they decide to keep it garage, or do they decide to rotate it over towards green?
They're going to be forced to try and compete for this Camo right now, and that's going to make this situation so difficult for Quadrant. It's actually Formal that sneaks away with that Camo. He says you can have the ball for just a moment. This camouflage seems to be the more important factor for Optic Gaming, and now somehow the setup gets broken. Formal finds himself with Camo ball. He's going to throw that to a teammate, and this round is starting to get ugly on the side of Quadrant.
Yeah, prior to that ball getting thrown out, it was Optic getting the kills, Optic getting the Camo, Optic getting the ball, but Snipe Drone at least equalized those numbers out.
Lucid, the last player alive for Optic Gaming, they're able to get a kill onto SLG. That's going to ruin any chance of a setup the Quadrant has. They try to rotate the ball towards Cuts, but the rest of Optic Gaming are going to be here so quickly that that ball gets shut down. The Slays continuing to go in their favor, and Lucid in a one-on-one is able to trade, keep that ball neutralized, and neutralization of the ball right now is good things for Optic.
Yeah, and what can Sika and Quadrant do here to get the kills they need and get a setup that works for a while? You don't need just 15 points at this time. You need to get a setup that you can hold for 30, 50, 70 points.
Right now, they haven't proved that they could do it, at least against the likes of Optic. Such a strong off-ball team, such a difficult team to try and find any efficiency or hold a setup against. And Optic are showing you why. They are so quick. If one player is alive, they can ruin everything as they continuously do it. The ball waits so long in that cuts area that it gets reset right now, and all of a sudden 38 seconds on the clock. Time starting to become a factor as well for a win condition for Optic here in round 1.
Yeah, it's looking like Optic are just going to try to run this clock out. As I say that, Dead Zone grabs the ball, rotates it on over, and looks like he faked towards pillars, then ran back towards Kedor? I can't tell. But there's also some power in the routes you take with that ball. So many players just adjust instantly, saying, all right, they're going to come out this way. I'm ready for it. Yep, they commit to a route, and they double back. Just like that, Dead Zone scooping up the last 3, 2, 1 points there, and that's round number 1 going for Optic Gaming.
A dominant round 1 here in game 4 for Optic Gaming, and Quadrant have got to figure out a way to hold a setup stronger than what they did in round 1 if they want any chance of this game 4 being close.
Yeah, the scary part there for Optic versus Quadrant is Optic had 54 kills to Quadrant's 51. So only a 3 kill difference. You basically consider that even in slays. But the objective time, complete different story.
There's an 80-point difference in the objective time there in that round. Optic Gaming so efficient, such an annoying team to try and compete against. 3 go down. Dead Zone is the last player alive with Snipe. That ball not being able to be picked up by Quadrant because they know Dead Zone is watching it with Snipe. And even this Camo being in a favorable position for Optic Gaming to compete for. Quadrant seem to be spread out on the map, and that can be really difficult to try and deal with Dead Zone on this Camo push. They do get a couple of kills towards that Camo, and that's forced Dead Zone back here, but he still has his eyes on competing for this Camo.
Yeah, knows that the last players are down low, grabs that Camo, gets the damage, and now looking for the spawners. Glory gets traded out.
Enemy has the ball.
Where's the next one? They know it's dummy door.
Yeah, Dead Zone playing this so perfectly, so patiently as well. The ball in Optic's hands. Dead Zone does get spotted out. Multiple members of Quadrant looking for him. Which way did he go? Which way did he go? Able to find the first kill. Asika does get a melee onto him. That ball still towards the other side of the map, though, and Optic's setup is broken, but they have a 15-point lead to play around once again.
Broken to a degree. I mean, Dead Zone drew too many players over there towards C plat. Even when they get that kill, they aren't able to collapse on that ball right away. And if they don't get that kill, they have a sniper behind them over towards the tower, which is not a comfortable position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, they're so busy trying to deal with Camo Dead Zone, trying to figure out where he went, what's he doing. He's playing mind games with them, and in the meantime, the ball still in the hands of Optic, continuing to be a nuisance. Every single player for Optic making this such a frustrating experience for Quadrant. The differences between these teams has not been seen to this level until this map mode combination because of how dominant a team like Optic Gaming can feel like it is to play against. And Quadrant do have a couple of kills in their favor. The ball is in-house. If they're able to take down Formal, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Quadrant with ball in hand, a full house setup. Can you find where Optic are coming from and stop the push?
And I like this too. They're also getting the ball in a position where they can play ball. At any other times we've been seeing Quadrant die with the ball, they're tossing the ball out of a window or something like that, but Optic are actually able to grab that ball instantly after they get the slays.
This is the first round of slays we've seen Quadrant have with ball in hand. They should be able to make this round very close. Camo is the focus for Optic as Trippy gets taken down. Lucian's going to be able to take down Sika, and I believe Camo got burned. That's why SLG is going to leave this area alone. Ball is still in-house, and SLG's in no man's land as the rest of Optic have been able to take that ball and rip it away from the likes of Quadrant, bring it back to green, and get in a position to play it if SLG can make enough damage.
And you got to wonder, were Quadrant supposed to play that? Or were they too confident they were going to get those kills? You could see the confusion there, the hesitancy to toss that ball off, thinking that they were going to get their numbers advantage, and because of it, ball didn't get played. Ball in the hands of Trippy. He's going to rotate this over towards Garage, realizes it's clear, but somehow, sniper from SLG, was it? Or no, it's Glory.
Oh, wow, a double that he should have got. Would have been nice, didn't get though, and now Formal might make you pay. He is taken down, but the setup for Quadrant that would have been, if Glory was able to find that kill on the Formal, would have been so strong at this point. The ball still in their hands, however, just not even a 15-point game at this point. Quadrant starting to get some slays with these setups are looking much different here in round 2. Can they keep this up?
I mean, they got the points on the board. We haven't seen them get one of those setups where they get the extended period of time from the first round. We've now seen that. We've now seen them scrap back 10 points here and there. They've started to figure out a little bit, but is it too little, too late? Optic are so close from closing out this round 2. They still have the ball over in Garage. Can they get the slays?
So much damage from Trippy. He's able to not only take 2 players down and no shield, he even finds a kill as well. So 3 members being taken down by the likes of Trippy and the rest of Optic Gaming with a little bit of help. 63-47. Somehow Quadrant have come off respawn and gotten the damage advantage, the numbers advantage, and back to a setup in the back of house. Quadrant have struggled from this position before, but they find the first kill. That's a big one right now. Dead Zone spotted out as well. Narrowly gets taken down by SLG, but a ton of damage from SLG could give them the advantage they need. Formal is the last player alive, forced to Quantum back. He's eventually taken down, and look at that. Quadrant will take the lead here in round 2.
They get the kills, they get the time. Now, I would love to see them rotate this ball over towards green. Yes, that's easy for us to say as we see where the spawns are at, but forced Optic to divide and conquer. Force them to have to decide between Camo and stopping the ball. Glory, run over towards Rat Tunnel. Gets the one-on-one against Dead Zone as he was getting shot in the back, and ball just gets technically played. I guess if you throw it back to a spawn point, you can call it play ball.
But Quadrant had the numbers. 3 were down for Optic momentarily. The ball back in the hands of Quadrant. Make it all 4 down for Optic Gaming. Spawning over towards green is not where you want to see Optic spawning if you're an Optic fan. And 81 points and counting for Quadrant as they bring the ball out towards the key door here. Still, Optic members from Respawners are here to shut this down, but a 20-point lead is the biggest lead we've seen from Quadrant since game 2.
And it's just chaos at the end here. Quadrant just trying to scoop up whatever kills they can. They find Lucid at the big door, not able to get the finish there. Lucid taken out too quick, and that's 3 down. What can Dead Zone do?
Dead Zone spawning over at green. He's in no position. They need to get this ball in hand and force Optic's hand. 83 points. You can get this narrowly to a close to 100, if not 95, and force the hand of Optic to push in places they have no business pushing. A couple of kills go in their favor. The ball, I believe, is neutralized here as Glory going to make his way towards it. He knows Optic Gaming are trying to bait this ball. There's 2 members in that key door on both sides. Glory's going to have to play this one slow and hit a shot.
Oh, Glory gets the opening right there, gets that kill, and does not get that follow-up damage onto Dead Zone, but damage has been done, and time's been bought. Optic Gaming are totally fine and comfortable right here. They're not too worried with the clock having 1:15 left on it. They are happy to slow this down, slay out, and then rotate ball.
It felt like Quadrant had numbers advantage so many different times throughout that process, but no time was awarded towards them. 86 is where they have stalled out, and Optic are bringing this ball to tower. Dead Zone in a position where he can play this ball if too much pressure comes his way, but he is going to try and get this game as close to tied up as he can. He's taken down very quickly. A great kill from Quadrant will reset this ball. Glory with snipe in hand. If he hits a shot, they can take this to a round 3.
And SLG putting the pressure on right away with this ball reset. I like this play from Quadrant. Do not let Optic get comfortable. Don't let them spawn to full force and push back. Glory grabbed the last 2 points there, and that's going to be a tie game we got here.
Let's go, Quadrant. We get a round 3 here in game 4, and what a different story that round 2 was from round 1. Quadrant started to figure out how to hold a setup.
Not even just figure out how to hold a setup. Outslayed Optic by 16 kills in that last round 2. I mean, when you have the other team half dead the entire game, you can do whatever you want. If you don't want to pick up the ball right away, I guess it still just works out.
It was a one-on-one between SLG and Formal to kick this round off. Formal 5s, SLG picks up the snipe, the ball. He says, take the ball, I've got to pop off. Jumps up top tower with snipe now in hands. Can he find the first? It's an easy shot on the SLG. Formal in a position to get his team a significant lead here in round 3.
And instantly play balls it, decides to keep this top control. I like this bait. Don't need to overcommit in direction. It's just the curse of competitive gaming timing. You look away, that's when they're going to pop out. And Glory, what can he do with this camo? He sees the threat. Does the threat see him?
Glory needs to kill Formal here. The sniper is the bigger threat. Trippy not the bigger threat here, but Formal doesn't spot him even though he shoots. But Formal hits the no-scope and the body. You gotta regret that decision, and Glory with the camo fails to make the play to remove snipe from the hands of Formal, and Formal will make Quadrant pay.
Getting that killing spree, keeping this tower control. You just saw, like you said, that hesitancy from Glory. Not sure if you commit towards the sniper, get the finish towards cut. Great positioning from the players from Optic, but like you said, just panic. You know somebody on Quadrant's side was panic calling out Trippy, and he was like, I gotta help that. It sounds like there's direness in this person's voice.
I think I just saw an overkill in the kill feed. I can't quite tell with the camera of the player, but immediately Quadrant come off respawn, break the setup of Optic, and although Formal hit some great shots, especially taking down the camo player, the game nearly still all tied up, and Quadrant rotating this ball to green should be able to get a play ball situation if they see too much pressure. However, that ball carrier was by himself at green. Nobody back green to play this ball. SLG trying to get his way back there, finds a kill, hits a G slide, finds the ball, and they don't need to play the ball, Dave. All 4 down for Optic. Quadrant have the slays to pair with it, and they will take the lead here in game 4.
Quadrant playing so much better here as the rounds go on. They are committing to grabbing that ball faster. They're rotating. They're dictating where the ball goes.
Another round of slays in Quadrant's favor. Now starting to gain a significant lead. Camo coming up, and it's in the hands of Snipe Drone. He doesn't choose to activate it right away. Instead, he deals damage to Trippy, wisely backs down, gets it into a secure location before activating it. And now Quadrant with the house set up, camo in hands of Snipe Drone, have an opportunity to blow this round 3 wide open.
Barely misses that third shot before the melee, but that player gets finished off at bags. Lucid, the last one alive, but does not see the rotation opportunity. Yes, he does. Somehow gets the ball all the way towards dummy door and gonna try to buy some desperate time here for the Optic members to spawn. SLG and Quadrant opt to just go for the slays. So that play was effective there from Lucid. What should have been more time for Quadrant is now a dead ball.
Another individual play of rotation of the oddball made by Optic Gaming to make this more frustrating for Quadrant to deal with. They are in the lead, however, up 24 at this point. Glory going to repulse top tower with Snipe. A lot of Optic members have their focus on him, but Nobody's facing him at the moment. He's able to take down Lucid. He's traded out eventually. The ball gets neutralized back to bottom middle, and it's this time around, it's Sika that's going to be the annoying oddball player as he grabs it immediately, and Trippy now trying to play catch-up to try and deny a setup for Quadrant.
Yeah, Trippy wants to be active in the fight, but doesn't want to commit too fast and get caught out in no man's land, just like that with the sniper. So sniper in the hands of Snipe Drone. No damage with that bullet, but kills just being traded back and forth. Can Formal and Crew stay alive here? Sika, the only one alive. Looks like we're going to see an Optic Gaming setup over in the garage.
Optic have a full setup, trying to get this game back to a tied situation. 46 kills for Snipe Drone, leading the lobby right now. I don't know when that happened, but Snipe Drone is popping off right now. Snipe Drone's taking to no shield. Formal going to shut him down before he makes it a 47th kill under his name, and Formal extends the setup for Optic Gaming.
Formal still trying to stay alive over in house. 2 members down for Optic now. Make that 3. Lucid, you're the last one alive. Can you make a play here on the ball? You're spotted out and likely to be finished up. Lucid and Trippy both down for a moment in time. And when you have the ball, in many cases, you're okay to trade slays like that. If you're trading slays and rotating the ball in the correct direction, you will win that trade in theory.
Look at how annoying Quadrant are being with this oddball. Optic are getting kills, but every single time this ball is getting picked up by no shield players and moved just a little bit further. Finally, Quadrant go all 4 down for the side of Optic Gaming. They're able to stop that ball from rotating across the map. They're able to get a setup of their own. And Lucid has picked up the fresh camo, has chosen not to activate it yet, playing a little bit greedy. Now that he's popped it late, the camo will live longer, but no, it's a beautiful grenade one-shot on the top tower that reveals him and takes him down. And all of a sudden, what was once a very powerful situation from Optic is now immediately erased by 1 grenade.
Yeah, 1v1 for a short bit in time, but Quadrant should have a good amount of information, knowing that Dead Zone was over at tower and that players were spawning over near Nest or Green. Now, what did they decide to do with that information?
Oh,
I don't know.
Wow. That 5 from Dead Zone was something to watch. 56 and starting to climb. This game will be all tied up momentarily. These trades are insane. These shots are even more insane. Dead Zone with the second back-to-back 5 will push the series or the lead in game 4 for Optic Gaming here in round 3.
Yeah, we highlighted in round number 1 when Optic were going even in slays, they were dominating the objective. However, as soon as Quadrant were able to heavily outslay Optic, they took over in game 2. What do you do when Optic are outslaying like Dead Zone right now?
Dead Zone is unbelievable right now. The difference here in round 3 that have given Optic the opportunity to gain this lead. It's just 17 points. As Dead Zone goes down, so does Trippy. The duo's down. Formal gets taken down. Lucid was momentarily the last player alive. Spotted pillars, knocked down to no shield. The ball being rotated to green so that it is in a position to be played if Optic apply enough pressure back green. Seek is going to be back here. He's going to throw that ball off the map. He's taken down. 3 members of Quadrant are on respawn. Snipe Drone has got to find a way to deny this ball from rotating towards tower.
Tie game, essentially.
What a melee.
I like that route from Dead Zone. Gonna be able to pressure that ball right away if it was grabbed. If not, you can just double team down there.
Snipe Drone not only gets 1 kill, but gets a melee into the second. It gets the damage advantage for Quadrant. They also get the ball in hand. They retake the lead 81 to 80.
Ball going towards back tower. Formal does not want that to go, but knows that it's a trap. He realized someone was not watching immediately from Plat, and it's too good to be true. Your spidey senses start to tingle, and you're like, this can't be right. Where's this person at?
He says it's quiet. Too quiet. Checks his corners, and because of it, he's able to get that kill. That ball gets played. Formal goes back to bottom middle, picks up that out ball. 10 points is all Optic need. Where is Quadrant across the map? No one near Formal, and Formal with full shield and 97 points looks to put this ball in an unwinnable situation for Quadrant. And Optic find a way to close this series out before it goes to a game 5. And that, although wasn't a game 5 for us, that was one of the closest series we've seen between these two. And if there were questions of will this be a rivalry, if Quadrant can play at that level consistently, the answer will be yes.
Yes, I mean, Quadrant are looking scary good. I mean, just such a difficult pool, though, as you look into players that play.